he would not support an attack on Iran's nuclear sites.
We'll be discussing with the Israelis what they're going to do.
He had a call with other G7 leaders today and says they all agree Israel has a right to respond. He also says Iran will face more sanctions. The U.S. urging the UN Security Council to act at an emergency meeting where Iran's representative points a finger at Israel.
The regime is pushing the region to the edge of an all-out unprecedented catastrophe.
Calling the missile strikes defensive and a necessity. Israel continues to target Iran proxy Hezbollah in South Lebanon, today announcing 8 soldiers killed in that fighting. President Biden speaking on his way to North Carolina for a first-hand briefing on the mass devastation from Hurricane Helene after authorizing up to 1,000 active duty soldiers to reinforce the North Carolina National Guard.
President Biden says the troops will speed up the delivery of life-saving supplies of food, water, and medicine to isolated communities in the state. In a statement, the president calls Helene a storm of historic proportion, vowing to stay with the communities experiencing unthinkable loss for as long as it takes.
Fox's Jared Halpern in Washington. The administration says nearly 5,000 personnel from several federal agencies are supporting the response now. Vice President Harris will get a storm briefing in Georgia after former President Trump's visit there on Monday. The president just a short time ago also again saying negotiations are what's needed to try to end a strike by some 45,000 dock workers, which continues for a second day at 36 U.S. ports from Maine to Texas. America is listening to Fox News.
October is Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and LifeLock is here to elevate your protection game. Using the same simple password across all your accounts, that's risky. While updating your passwords to be more unique is a good start, true peace of mind comes with LifeLock. LifeLock doesn't just alert you to suspicious activity, but monitors for more uses of your personal info and will fix identity theft issues that arise, guaranteed, or your money back. Secure your identity today with a 30-day free trial at LifeLock.com. Use promo code NEWS. Terms apply.
Point!
Hey, you okay? You don't normally miss those shots.
I just haven't been as regular lately, and it's making me feel sluggish.
You should try Metamucil. It's been a game changer for me. Metamucil's plant-based psyllium fiber helps trap and remove the waste that weighs you down.
Ace!
You're moving better than you were last week.
Definitely.
Metamucil keeps you moving. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Learn more at Metamucil.com.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Spectacular October weather going through our Wednesday afternoon. Lots of sunshine, light winds, low humidity. Excellent temperatures, 74 for the high. Tonight, clear skies. Quick drop into the 60s this evening. 51 for the overnight low. Chilly, but not as chilly as last night. Thursday, sunny, warmer, 82. Friday, sunny, 82. Do the same Saturday and Sunday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon for Zero Res, and it's time to get ready for the Halloween season by eliminating all that spooky dirt, grime, and gunk that's in your carpets. Don't ghost your carpet this fall. See what we did there? Halloween brings out the best in people, but also the scariest dirt from foot traffic. So let's use Zero Res to get everything clean with a great deal in the month of October. Carpets, tiles, rugs, upholstery. Basically, every surface in your home can be Zero Resified. So it's time to call Zero Res. Right now, you can get your entire home Zero Resified from the best carpet cleaner in St. Louis and get 3 rooms cleaned starting at $129. $75 off your air duct cleaning this month when you mention my name or 97.1 FM Talk. Do not let a missed deal haunt you this month. Zero Res has a great rating, 4.9 on Google with over 5,800 reviews. Schedule your appointment today. Get the October special, 314-474-2020 or ZeroResSTL.com. You spell it backward or forward, it spells the same. Zero Res.
Attention Missouri Medicaid members. If you need assistance with daily living, you can receive a free service from Freedom Care in your own home from a loved one. With Freedom Care, you decide who provides your daily care with help preparing meals, bathing, laundry, transportation, and more. A family member or friend that gets paid instantly after every shift. It's all funded by Medicaid and 100% free to you. Call Call now to check your eligibility. New to Medicaid, the Freedom Care family will guide you through enrollment, making it stress-free for patients and caregivers. With over 5,000 five-star Google reviews, we've perfected at-home care for Medicaid members and caregivers. This service is free to you through Medicaid, and with our InstaPay app, caregivers are paid instantly. So go to freedomcare.com or call 314-557-7915. 314-557-7915. 314-557-7915.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friends at Triton Exteriors, specifically my friend Tim Nesbitt, who is the owner. He is from the customer service business, 20 years in the restaurant business, so the answer is yes. What's the question? Anything you need. Hospitality, personal service, we're upscale, we're a James Hardy company. Roofing and siding and gutters and great value. Tim just texted me and he beat the next closest bid by $15,000 just this week. You can call 314-717-1159 or triton-stl.com.
If you're experiencing low energy, brain fog, or bloating, then your body might need a detox. Active Liver from New Nordic makes it easy to help your liver to detox your body all year long without major changes to your diet or lifestyle. Active Liver is available in stores at CVS or online at Amazon.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what you're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Welcome to the Annie Fry Show. It's Wednesday. It is the day after the vice presidential debate. It is the day after we have watched Iran launch missiles into Israel, and we're all sitting there waiting and wondering what happens next. There is so much at stake in our world right now, and we are glad that you're choosing to spend your afternoon with us here on 97.1 FM Talk as we take it all in. So the VP debate was yesterday, and you got to ask you, what do you think about who won that debate? And we'd also really love to know why you think what you think. If you go to the Annie Fry YouTube channel, come say hi, hello, and vote in today's YouTube live chat poll. Pretty simple. Who won? I heard Brian Kilmeade saying this on Fox this morning, that the VP debate is essentially about which candidate elevates their party's ticket. So it's not about like what is the vice presidential candidate's policies on this, that, and the other thing, because the policies are of the ticket and, of course, of the presidential candidate. I serve at the pleasure of the president. The vice president would say that, of course, as well. So who goes into this vice presidential debate and elevates the ticket? I think when you walk through a lot of what reaction there was to last night, it's a pretty clear answer as to who elevated what. Here is a bunch of folks reacting to last night's vice presidential debate.
There is no doubt in my mind, however Governor Walz did in terms of sincerity, that Vance won this debate.
Does Governor Walz have a problem with the truth? No.
They were talking, at one point, Vance wanted to correct something about how Haitians got into this country. And he was right, and the moderators wouldn't let him correct it. It's very interesting.
But at the beginning, the two issues driving the campaign right now are Harris has a big deficit on the economy, Harris has a big deficit on immigration, and Republicans were happy tonight, and Democrats a little bit nervous that on those two issues, Vance carried it.
J.D. Vance is much more experienced at this, at public speaking, at defending himself, at pivoting.
It's the audacity. I agree with you that we're in year 9 and no one knows how to cover the audacity. The audacity is that someone should have said, stop it, stop. Are you effing kidding me? And they should have dropped that F-bomb, right? I mean, they should have just, this is a debate. This may be the only chance people have to see the difference.
That was MSNBC not being okay after the debate last night. Here's the thing that I'm hearing from folks that I talk to. I'm talking about real, in-the-flesh people reacting to last night's debate. Everybody felt good about it. Why? They all commented about how it was classy, how the way that the candidates treated each other was refreshing. And, you know, there were multiple times last night where J.D. Vance was articulating a point in a very eloquent way, which is what you heard Jake Tapper, among other people, highlighting there. And J.D. Vance's ability to debate, that's a skill. I mean, it's a competition in high school. You can be on the debate team. There's a way to do it very well. And you can win a debate without facts if you know how to debate very well. So you got to be sharp on both sides of that. But there were multiple times where J.D. Vance was making a really good point, and Tim Walz was affirmatively and seriously in the split screen nodding his head in affirmation of what J.D. Vance said, and would then turn around and say, we don't disagree on everything here. I agree on a lot of what he said, and then he would make a point. And in turn, you also had times where Tim Walz would make a point, and J.D. Vance would come back and say, you know, I agree with some of that, or offer a sympathy or compassion towards Tim Walz. Didn't Tim Walz say that his child witnessed a shooting?
Yes.
And that was kind of shocking and jarring. Yes. And instead of trying to make J.D. Vance is giving a masterclass here to conservatives when there is, and liberals, true, everybody does this in the media, when there is a tragedy that involves guns, that the first thing you do is you immediately snap to politics about it. It's gross. And last night we saw J.D. Vance acknowledge the humanity in the statement that Tim Walz made and offer that, and America soaked it in. So kudos to both of them. I heard several people reacting to the Midwest Nice that was on the stage last night, and I hear people say Midwest Nice, and some people say it as a compliment, and some people say it as not a compliment. And what I've noticed is people not from the Midwest think Midwest Nice is a compliment. People that are local here call Midwest Nice as kind of a jab. So I guess it kind of depends on where you come from. But these gentlemen treated each other as gentlemen. And it's refreshing to see. The whole point of a vice presidential debate is to elevate the ticket, not to squash down the opponent. You don't need to eliminate the vice presidential candidate on the other side of the aisle in order to win the election. You need to go into this debate and lift it up. I saw multiple comments from conservative pundits criticizing J.D. Vance for not delivering the knockout blows that he could have on various occasions. And that's not what last night was about. That's not what J.D. Vance is there for. That's what the presidential debate should be. And I will say, admittedly, I think Donald Trump, while I don't think he got demolished and beat in a 3-on-1 debate against Kamala Harris, instead of delivering those knockout blows in the presidential debate as well as he should have, last night, J.D. Vance took every opportunity he could get to make you want to like him. To look at J.D. Vance and go, he seems like a really great dude. He seems like a pretty normal person. And I think he was incredibly effective at that. Tim Walz, I think, exceeded low expectations, but I feel like in October, we're at a position now where low expectations are going to turn into low turnout of support. That the way that you are going to see low expectations for candidates, you can't defy low expectations to still be below average in performance and make people go, yeah, right now in an economic crisis, in a hurricane crisis, in a border crisis, in a foreign policy crisis, in an Israel crisis, in a potentially nuclear Iran crisis, in an inflation crisis, Tim Walz wasn't as bad as he could have been. I'll vote for him. Nobody is saying, no, not a person is saying that. I got a whole bunch of clips that we're going to play for you, some video clips we're going to play for you. We'll probably get to a lot of them in the 2 o'clock hour, so make sure you join us there. And we'll wrap up the end of the show with the results of today's YouTube live chat poll. Who won the debate, J.D. Vance or Tim Walz? But you can always tell how Republicans and Democrats alike either champion the end of the debate or you can tell if they're coping with the end of the debate. And I've seen Republicans, for instance, post the Trump-Biden debate. When that took place, I instantly was like, I gotta see what MSNBC is saying about this. I have to tune into CNN to see what their reaction is to this. I knew that it was that bad for Joe Biden. You knew that it went that poorly for the president of the United States, Joe Biden. Donald Trump did what he needed to do and let Joe Biden be the story. I think Donald Trump was masterful in that first debate at not making himself the headline, which traditionally I feel is his biggest Achilles heel. Joe Biden was in a position to become the story, and Donald Trump did not step on that. And then post-debate, Donald Trump was incredibly quiet after and just let that ruminate. Don't get in the way of it. And he didn't. And watching the people on the Democrat-leaning, liberal-leaning networks, they couldn't spin it. It was unspinnable. And then we know what happened next. After the Trump-Kamala debate, what I noticed was that the Republican pundits spent a lot of time talking about the moderators, which to me made it seem like, first of all, I agree that the moderators in the ABC debate were flipping bonkers in the way that they handled that debate, completely in the bag for Kamala Harris. These are the types of things that we're saying after the Harris-Trump debate. But Donald Trump didn't do what he needed to do in that instance to where his performance became the positive story for Trump. The spin for Republicans after the Trump-Harris debate was how bad the moderators were. If the moderators were bad, but Donald Trump still did everything he needed to do to get his points across, that would have been the story. I think he missed the mark there on being able to do it, but I also don't really know how you go up against 3 versus 1 in a climate like that. You've got to defy expectations at every possible level. I think Donald Trump did okay. I think Kamala Harris proved that she is the Kamala Harris that we expected her to be, which is vapid and wordy, but she knew her lines well. I don't think that that reflects positively on Kamala Harris, but Kamala Harris was not put in a position on the receiving end of aggressive fact checks the way Donald Trump was. And should that have been even, we all know how that would have gone. What are people saying after the vice presidential debate? Everybody's talking about how pleasant the candidates were. Republicans are supposed to be the boogeymen in the closet. You're not supposed to see them be nice. You're not supposed to see them in a relatable way. You're not supposed to know that conservatives, just like J.D. Vance was talking about last night, was talking about friends and family and the importance of upholding what it is that you want to experience, your freedoms in this country, without the impervious, over far-reaching attitude of the United States government under the current administration and the continuation of the current administration in a Biden, in a Harris-Walz continuation of it. J.D. Vance made the debate about you. That hasn't happened yet in a debate. The debate has always been squarely on the candidates. The debate has always been, of course, if Trump's in the debate. Everything's about Trump, even if Trump's not in the debate. Donald Trump didn't take a pass on that, and he shouldn't have. He's the top of the ticket. He's the candidate. Kamala Harris's points were all about Donald Trump. Never, ever, ever squarely focusing on you. J.D. Vance understands the assignment of what good constitutional government looks like and the empowerment of the American people. And last night, he happily delivered that message to the people who watched that debate. While Tim Walz, I don't think, was a failure the way he could have been. You know, J.D. Vance could have gone in there swinging at Tim Walz. He really made a decision not to deliver that knockout blow. And that, to me, is because J.D. Vance decided to advocate for the American people and to let Tim Walz do the Tim Walz things that would show the American people that he's not ready for this job. and that his policies, whatever they might be, because the Harris-Walz campaign isn't spending a lot of time giving us details on them, that they're not ready for prime time. And if you want more of what we have right now, the choice is right there in front of you. Tim Walz is ready, along with Kamala Harris, to continue the Harris administration right now as she's the vice president. If you want more of what you're dealing with right now, if you want this moment in time to escalate for the next 4 years, if not 8 years, you got your folks. But if you would like to see the American existence return to the people, and if you would like to see investment first in this country that you are a citizen of, there's only one choice on the stage. J.D. Vance showed up last night for you. Not for him, not for Donald Trump. J.D. Vance showed up and debated the Harris-Walz campaign for you, and it was incredibly refreshing. We're going to take a quick break, and Hogan Gidley is going to join us when we come back. He is the America First Policy Institute Senior Advisor for Communications, and we love checking in with him from time to time. We're going to get his thoughts on how that debate went last night and what next. It's a very important question to ask, and we will ask it of Hogan when we come back. Go vote in the poll and tell us who you think won the VP debate. The Annie Fry YouTube live chat poll.
Lend me your hand and we'll conquer them all.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
But your soul you must keep totally free. Ha, 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 ha.
The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Ruler Foods, you find them online at rulerfoods.com. Did you know that they do delivery? So the savings, if you haven't shopped the stores yet, get in there and see what you can do to save at Ruler Foods just by shopping. Prices are lower. You can also have those great savings delivered directly to your door. Right now, they have a get 4 for $5 sale, and they want you to save big on Smartway pasta sauce or Smartway dressing, 4 for $5. Armor lunch makers. This is a really, really great opportunity to save on those easy to make and grab lunches, 4 for $5. Hunt's Manwich, delicious, or Joe's Olay Chimichangas, 4 for $5. Also, Kroger Deluxe Mac and Cheese or Knorr Pasta, 4 for $5. And if you're looking to stock up for Taco Tuesday, Kroger Taco Shells or Rotel Diced Tomatoes, $4 or 4 for $5 as well. Shop at Ruler Foods and save. They've got you up while the grocery prices are freaking everybody out. They're there to help. You can find them online at rulerfoods.com.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
October is Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and LifeLock is here to elevate your protection game. Using the same simple password across all your accounts, that's risky. While updating your passwords to be more unique is a good start, true peace of mind comes with LifeLock. LifeLock doesn't just alert you to suspicious activity, but monitors for more uses of your personal info and will fix identity theft issues that arise, guaranteed, or your money back. Secure your identity today with a 30-day free trial at LifeLock.com. Use promo code NEWS. Terms apply.
Are you worried about the state of the economy? Concerned about market crashes and rising inflation wiping out your savings? At Noble Gold Investments, we understand your fears and have a solution. Call us today at 1-888-403-1050. Imagine safeguarding you and your family with a tangible asset that has stood the test of time. Gold. With Noble Gold Investments, you can diversify your portfolio and protect your wealth from economic turmoil. Our team will guide you through the process process ensuring you make informed decisions that best suit your needs. Call Noble Gold Investments today at 1-888-403-1050. That's 1-888-403-1050. The future is uncertain. Take control now. Call 1-888-403-1050.
Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Fall weather is on its way. Time to schedule your heating system check to make sure you heat your home safely. Schedule your heating system check today at aircomfortservice.com.
Freedom of thought. Freedom of speech. It's defended here on your home for conservative talk and conservative values. 97.1 FM Talk. This is the Annie Fry Show.
Sexy thing I see over there. That's me standing in the mirror. What's that? I sit there.
Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
That's gold. Show me some respect. Oh, I thank God every day that I woke up feeling this way. And I can't help loving myself. And I don't need nobody else. Nuh-uh. If I was you,
Welcome back to the
I'd
Annie
wanna
Fry Show. So the debate, vice presidential debate last night, and I wonder how many of you watched it. Did you tune into it? We did last night, and we had a good time watching it. Thought it was a really good debate. I thought that it was a good debate because of the candidates, not because of the moderators. I do think the moderators did what the moderators seem to consistently do, maybe save CNN. Who knew? Dana Bash and Jake Tapper, they're the gold standard right now, considering that Fox News hasn't had a chance to actually have a debate because Kamala Harris is too scared to do it, which, you know, it would be a tough one for her to be able to answer tough questions, and it's clear that she has worked very hard to avoid that. I really wonder if the Kamala Harris Tim Walz campaign feels like they need to get out there more. Are they going to ride this out the whole time? I think that it's very likely that they're going to. They've gotten this far. Why would they end up changing it? Jonathan Karl on ABC News had this to say, and I think that this guy he's very anti-Trump, correct? He is left leaning. Donald Trump hurt his feelings. And you can tell by the way he asks questions on the Saturday shows and so on. But he was asked to react to last night's debate, and he said this.
But first, David, I got to say, I think that Walz did seem unsteady. And frankly, what I saw in Walz is somebody who has not faced questions on a national stage since he became the Democratic nominee. He was simply out of practice. I don't know why they've done it, but they've kept him out of the limelight. They've kept him away from reporters. They haven't had him do any interviews, and he was clearly unsteady through much of that debate. And in contrast, J.D. Vance was very smooth. He took the arguments not to Walz. He was very respectful of Walz, took it to Kamala Harris.
J.D. Vance and his approach won the night. I really feel like the big story out of last night was that J.D. Vance is a lovable dude.
Yeah, I would agree with that. That he's not quote unquote weird. That he was just he's like, I think you said it in the first segment, Midwest nice. He is a lovable guy. He's got a sense of humor about him. The one thing that really I don't know if you remember this, right before they went to the first break, he did the fourth wall break look at the camera. And it was just something that it's like, okay, this guy has a sense of humor. He has a sense of what he's doing. And he knows how to present himself as a nice guy. So I do think he came off very nice.
Do you think he knows how to present himself as a nice guy, or do you think he is a nice guy?
Well, it's really easy to present yourself as a nice guy if you are, in fact, a nice guy. And I think that's what it is. I think we saw truly who J.D. Vance was last night.
I do, too. I'll play a couple clips here from the actual debate so we can talk about these. I think this is one of the biggest issues that was discussed and really not handled well from the Walz side. Here's J.D. Vance on the border.
Thanks to Kamala Harris's open border. And I didn't accuse Kamala Harris of inviting drug mules. I said that she enabled the Mexican drug cartels to operate freely in this country. And we know that they use children as drug mules. And it is a disgrace, and it has to stop. Look, I think what Tim said just doesn't pass the smell test. For 3 years, Kamala Harris went out bragging that she was going to undo Donald Trump's border policy. She did exactly that. We had a record number of illegal crossings. We had a record number of fentanyl coming into our country. And now that she's running for president, or a few months before, she says that somehow she got religion and cared a lot about a piece of legislation. The only thing that she did when she became the vice president, when she became the appointed border czar, was to undo 94 Donald Trump executive actions that opened the border. This problem is leading to massive problems in the United States of America. Parents who can't afford health care, schools that are overwhelmed. It's got to stop, and it will when Donald Trump is president.
I mean, you can tell that the Harris-Walz ticket, their policy is literally copied and pasted from the Biden-Harris policy. And it was so important for J.D. Vance to articulate that the border policy was the undoing of 94 executive orders of Donald Trump's. That's their border policy. And Tim Walz stupefied me last night when he said, it's not just the executive branch that can do this. And then he wants to talk about the bipartisan bill, which was a trash bill to begin with. But yeah, the Biden administration, the Harris administration, they undid 94 executive orders of Donald Trump's. And then look what happened. The proof is in the pudding. Let's get to our guest. Hogan Gidley joins us once again, America First Policy Institute's senior advisor for communications, also the former national press secretary for the Donald Trump campaign. Hogan, it's great to talk to you today. Great debate last night for J.D. Vance. Wanted to hear what you thought about it.
Really was. Really impressive. So many things happening at the same time at that debate, and watching J.D. articulate the vision, the America First policies of Donald Trump, the ones that have been proven to be successful to make people's lives better, was really just a sight to behold. And I thought one of the things that kind of shocked most Americans probably was that he wasn't the ogre, mean, woman-hating caricature that the media had been trying to portray him as since he got in the race. And I think people tuned in to watch that. And instead what they got was a guy who came from humble beginnings with a mother who was an addict, who couldn't raise him. He had to be raised by his grandmother, who went to, the Marines, college on the GI Bill, completely relatable to most Americans. He was charming. He was compassionate. It was a great moment when Tim Walz was talking about how his son had witnessed a shooting, and J.D. Vance just stopped and said, Tim, I had no idea your son had witnessed a shooting. That is horrible. I mean, Christ the Lord, that's so sad. I mean, this was a man who really shocked a lot of folks who tuned in to see him flame out or to see him fiery and mean, and you realize that's not who he is. And when you're talking about a race in presidential politics separated by a few thousand votes across 3 states, vice presidential debates really don't matter all that much. I think this one does, because it speaks to the decision-making skills of those at the top of the ticket. Donald Trump picked someone who not only is smart, not only is articulate, but who is relatable to the American people. And I think because it was such a reverse of what so many people thought was going to happen, I think it's going to matter ultimately in this race.
Yeah. You took my question that I had just written down right off my paper as to the wisdom of the people at the top of the ticket. Kamala Harris doesn't sit down and talk to the American people through a very, very, very soft press. It's kind of amazing that even in the media climate that fawns over her, that she hasn't found herself in front of more people with a microphone and a camera. But Tim Walz also has opted out of doing that as well. J.D. Vance will sit down with anybody, anywhere. Donald Trump has done the same thing. Do you think that the American people, now that we're into October, do you think the American people identify the hiding campaign of the Harris-Walz individuals as a problem? Is it problematic for them?
Well, I think the left really kind of got a dose of reality based on what they were trying to do, which is run the Joe Biden strategy of 2020 and just kind of keep their candidates bubble wrapped, away from the press, not answering tough questions. And it came back to bite them. I mean, let's be honest. What you saw was someone who wasn't really ready for prime time, someone who had not been tested in the fires of the mainstream media. And by the way, if Tim Walz and Kamala Harris do ever go out in front of the media, all they get are softball questions anyway. Like you're meeting up with an adoring, fawning press, for heaven's sake.
Yeah.
So I mean, why wouldn't you do it? But you saw a little bit of that last night. JD is really quick on his feet. He's able to articulate the vision. He's adept at pivoting off of issues he doesn't like, pivoting back onto the ones that the American people care about. And that's because he's been tested in a lot of these fires and gone into very hostile territory. And Tim Walz has not done any of those things. Early on, he was real shaky. I think Tim ended up settling down. But it's hard being Tim Walz because after this whole thing started, you can't go back and talk about the good policies of Kamala Harris because they've all made our lives worse.
Yeah.
You can't talk about her vision for the future because she's not outlined anything except, the Oprah Winfrey strategy of you get a car and you get a house loan and you get a college loan. So he was in a tough spot. I think JD did a good job articulating it. I still think, though, the moderators failed drastically to do what they should have been doing, which is asking questions, letting them debate, instead, of course, tipping the scales as they only can do by asking J.D. Vance to answer for things Donald Trump had said, never asking Walz to answer for anything that Kamala Harris had said, no policy. And then when they would go back and forth, the moderators would step in and say, now, Governor Walz, would you like to respond to what J.D. Vance just said about this issue where he said X? Like giving him a roadmap to where they thought they should go after him. I mean, it was just kind of typical of the mainstream media. But nonetheless, J.D. handled it. He pushed back at the right times. He was restrained at the right times. And he was able to really deliver a strong performance.
Completely agree. We're speaking with Hogan Gidley. He is a senior advisor for communications at America First Policy Institute. I propose that the positive reaction that voters on both sides of the aisle had from last night about it being kind of a refreshing, nicer debate between two, well, we're in the Midwest here, so I'll attribute a little bit of that niceness to the Midwesterness in the two candidates that are there. But I feel like J.D. Vance's biggest victory was he took every opportunity to make the debate about the American people. And I think that the American people are often not communicated enough, especially in the post-debate fodder, because usually Donald Trump is part of the equation. And these folks, they wake up hating Donald Trump and they go to bed to have dreams of hating Donald Trump. He's always at the epicenter of everything. And J.D. Vance took the opportunity to highlight families in America and economic pain that Americans are feeling and concern about fentanyl coming into our suburban neighborhoods where you think you're safe from it and you're really not. And I really commend J.D. Vance for bringing the American people back into the discussion.
It was a masterclass. And I think so often we talk about the people at the top of the ticket, but this still comes down to what's best for the American people. And I think J.D. addressed that on many occasions, on all the issues that matter. And so, look, these things are kind of big news stories for a day or two, and that's kind of the end of it. But I think J.D. gets a bump in popularity. Even some of the polling that had flash polls him winning, some of them were tied. And people called me, some of my friends on the right said, how could they be tied? J.D. Vance did so much better. And I said, listen, when you're already at a deficit and the media has already called you all the horrible names in the book for months at this point, to come out as a tie is a huge win.
Yes.
In the face of the lies they told about JD. And one thing I'll say, because we talk about the decisions of the two people, I want to make this clear. Kamala Harris's decision making so far has been abysmal. She has decided to leave the border wide open. She has decided to cast a tie-breaking vote that ushered in, economic destruction. You're paying more for gas and for groceries because of her decisions. And when she had the chance to pick a running mate, she chose someone who had done all of the things, all of the liberal policies, all the radical ideologies that she wishes she could do from the federal government. They did them at the state level in Governor Walz. Not to mention the fact he himself, this whole shtick with the empty platitudes and the all shucks flannel wearing Midwestern shtick, it doesn't work because people in the Midwest don't want taxpayers to be forced to pay for illegal aliens to get free college education or free health care.
Yes.
That's not something people really relate to. So this whole idea that he's somehow relatable, it just shows a pattern of bad decisions from Kamala Harris, coupled with the bad decisions from Tim Walz and what they've done to Minnesota versus Donald Trump. Again, a lot of Republicans, you remember, said, J.D. Vance, oh, man, that doesn't get us anything. Like, what was that all about? And it turns out, yet again, Donald Trump was right.
Yeah, absolutely. And he was willing to be right while it was unpopular until people could come around to see why he made the decision that he did. Hogan Gidley with us right now. One last quick question before you go. We've got 34 days until Election Day. I live in Illinois. People are voting now in Illinois. What happens in these next 34 days to assure that Donald Trump does pull out a sizable victory?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with the non-sexy parts of politics. It's blocking and tackling. It's getting out the vote, voter mobilization, voter registration, ballot chase operations, ballot harvest operations where it's legal, making sure you have poll watchers and poll workers reporting problems you see. Listen, we just had a catastrophic flood that has displaced a lot of people in western North Carolina, in Georgia. Really horrible what has happened to their lives and livelihoods. I mean, people are dead here. Trillions of tons of water pouring through, just destroying towns, wiping them off the map. I mean, ballots have already gone out in North Carolina. What happens to those ballots? What happens to the chance to vote again should your ballot be destroyed in some flood? I mean, there are all kinds of questions like that that are going to occur, too, further down the road. Once those people start to kind of come up for a breath and get their lives back together, you're going to have some serious questions and doubts about how some of these states are going to be able to even conduct an election. So things like that we're watching for right now, but it's still incumbent upon all of us. If you care about the future of this country, you have to go out and vote, and you have to get others to do the same. Vote early if you can. Vote on Election Day if that's what you prefer, but you can't let anything prevent you from doing that. That's the whole game. The left never sleeps. They never let anything stop them from going to the polls, whether it be early, whether it be in person. They do it. So we have to do the same.
Yes. Amen to that. Hogan Gidley, thank you for your reaction today. We appreciate your time this afternoon.
Anytime, Annie. Thanks so much.
Yep. You take care as well. Bye-bye. Hogan Gidley is America First Policy Institute Senior Advisor for Communications. He's also the former National Press Secretary for the Trump campaign. Great to have Hogan on to talk to us today and get his reaction. And might mirror some of yours. Maybe it's the opposite of what you thought about last night. You have to let us know on the Annie Fry YouTube channel. We want to know who you think won the vice presidential debate. Kurt commented, said Vance, but Timmy did better than I expected. The moderators get an F again. David said it was obvious that Walz wasn't ready for Vance. There were some suggestions on some networks that maybe he was made to be too prepared. But when he took the podium, if I were his, I'm going to put it this way. If I would have been his mom and I would have watched him take the podium in a way that looked the way it looked last night, I would have been like, oh, baby, come on. You can do it. It's all right. Show confidence. You got this. You worked hard for this. He did not look confident. Weekends America, next.
I walk in like a timepiece.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
So bless me, baby, yeah. And even if they try to, they can't do it like I do. I thank God every day that I woke up feeling this way. And I can't help loving myself. And I don't need nobody else. No.
I want to talk to you about Lutheran education. I want to talk to you about the solution that you have been looking for your child or for your grandchild that is affordable, that is accessible. It's a Lutheran education. It's a Lutheran elementary school near you, maybe a Lutheran high school near you. LESA, that's Lutheran Elementary School Association, LESA, LESASTL.org/Annie. That's where your search starts. That's where you start to learn about the STEM education that you will get at a Lutheran school, the extracurriculars that are provided on top of an absolutely excellent education. I myself went to a Lutheran school. I send my children to a Lutheran school. It is the best dollar that I spend. And if you are looking for assistance in doing so, you can go to lisastl.org/Annie and learn how you can make this a possibility for you. Small class sizes, community creation, parental involved education, faith-based, family values-based education for your child or your grandchild. It starts on the website. Get to the website and start looking around and seeing if it's for you. And please consider giving it a shot for your child. I think you'll thank me later. You can direct message me on the Annie Fry Show Facebook page with any personal questions you have. I'd be happy to talk to you about it. But you can visit them online at lisastl.org/Annie.
Mark Cox here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how to link to the market without the risk. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go online to retirementkey.com.
What's it going to take for you to realize the IRS is in full-blown attack mode, and if you have IRS issues, your timely response is critical? Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. We certainly know the IRS has ramped up efforts because we're seeing a lot more clients with threats of intents to seize property or levy rights to property. If you have IRS issues, call the Lance Drury firm today. Today, don't wait. Those IRS notices have hard deadlines for exercising your appeal rights. If you miss the deadline, your rights to a legal appeal are gone. Let the Lance Drury Law Firm get between you and the IRS today, and we'll help you manage your case to achieve the best outcome. IRS problems are serious legal matters, so call Lance Drury Law Firm, located right here in St. Louis. Don't wait. Call 314-260-6120. That's 314-260-6120 and schedule your free consultation with me, Lance Drury, or visit LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
I don't know how to ask.
They know what sounds are funny.
Or what smells are funky.
That's right. No one knows their furnace like they do, so go ahead, ask.
Okay. Is your furnace funky?
If it is, then make but one call.
And Jerry Kelly will be there the very next day.
Call anytime, 8 to 8, 8 days a week.
And Jerry Kelly will fix your furnace or install a new one the very next day.
JerryKelly.com. We've been talking about the vice presidential debate last night. The YouTube live chat poll of the day is who won the VP debate. Was it J.D. Vance or was it Tim Walz? And while you're there on the YouTube live chat poll, leave a comment and let us know where you watched it, how much you watched. Just out of curiosity, I'd like to know those things. 1247. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon from my friends at ThrottleNet, and you've probably heard George Rosenthal from ThrottleNet on the show. He's a technology whiz, and George and his team can educate you and your business on the dangers lurking with technology. Here's a unique opportunity along those lines. Does your company have a lunch and learn or guest speakers? For a limited time, ThrottleNet is providing free lunch and learns to provide cybersecurity awareness training. One click can cause a ton of damage to your business. ThrottleNet is determined to make sure that doesn't happen. And if it does, they're the cybersecurity experts who can help. ThrottleNet is known for high customer satisfaction, averaging 99% happiness with over 35,000 surveys. They have an industry-leading response time of less than 2 minutes. And no clients of ThrottleNet have ever paid ransom as a result of a cyber attack. Contact ThrottleNet at throttlenet.com/971 and we can schedule your free company lunch. Don't miss out. Find out more today about ThrottleNet at throttlenet.com/971.
We know you've got an interesting take on things. You can tell us by clicking the microphone button next to Listen Live when you're on the Odyssey app. Record a short message for us to hear when you tune into 97.1 on the Odyssey app. You're listening to The Annie Fry Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Fry Show.
Wiggins!
Oh! Wiggins!
Well, I have a bunch of stuff that you just need to purge from your life, basically, today. This is things you need to get rid of to be happy.
Okay.
And I want to see if you have any of these things in your house and whether or not you're willing to part with them. Number 1 is dead plants.
Yeah. I
Do you?
Well, it's a pot that I want. I need to plant something else in the pot.
So you wanted to keep the plant or the pot, but not the plant.
I
The
don't
plant's
care.
dead.
I don't care about the plant, obviously.
Obviously.
What would be so difficult to prevent
Ethan's here, by the
someone?
way.
Oh yeah, hi guys.
Hi.
What would be so difficult to prevent someone from getting rid of said dead plant?
I'm not sure. It just says that that's a common thing, and apparently it is a common thing. We have some plants in our house. I'm sure some of them are on their last legs. We should probably go ahead and pull the cord.
We have an Epcot flower and garden orange bird pot. And Evelyn, my 8-year-old, came home and planted like a flower that she grew in class in it.
Okay.
And then it died.
Yeah.
It died because it grew so well, we needed to plant it in another pot. And we did not.
Yes.
And so it's just sitting there dead. So I need to throw the plant away, but I'm not going to throw it's not like I can just toss the whole thing easily.
Separate question. Is keeping plants in the house something that shows signs of age? Because we did not used to do this at all. And the older we get, the more plants we just have around for whatever reason.
Maybe responsibility.
Okay.
Succulents are kind of in right now. I'm not sure
Yeah.
if that's included, but my 2 younger sisters have a few of those in their rooms, and they just love those things. I don't know. It's all about the aesthetic, Ryan.
You also you acquire them as gifts too as you get older, especially for I don't know, you'll get plants given to you at funerals.
The only
or
other
stuff
plant
like
I
that.
have in my house is a plant from my grandmother's funeral in 2020, and it is still alive. I don't know how.
That's impressive.
But to Brad's point, yep.
I never thought about what you do with those flowers. I guess I haven't been
The-
close
the
enough
ones
that I
that
was the
are
one
in-
receiving the flowers.
The ones that are in the pot, you keep
And all
those.
green. Like they're meant to be watered monthly.
Interesting.
I don't even know if we water it monthly.
Regularly.
No, they're not.
No.
If you water,
Oh,
no.
Oh,
if
you're
you-
talking about succulents or
No, I'm talking about the kind of greenery that I don't know what they're called. Mom, she's a master gardener.
Mom?
she's considering cutting me out of the will right now. She's like, "Gosh, Annie." But the type of green plants, they're big. They look like bush
ferns?
No. I know what a fern is.
You're talking about a bush.
Maybe.
You're not out of the will, but the only thing you're going to get is the plants.
That would be a really bad decision.
Next.
As noted. You know what? I can guarantee that's not happening. Peace Lily! Yeah!
Peace Lily. Somebody actually.
Went from bush to
Oh
Peace
my
Lily.
gosh. Somebody actually threw that out there and it was right.
Well, I kept looking at the chat like, come on, people, this is why you're here. Make me look a little bit better than my complete ignorance on this issue.
Other
Peace
things you
Lily.
need to get rid of.
Yes, Peace Lily.
Your dish racks that you dry dishes in. This is HGTV saying this. They said that it seems practical, but it's always just full of dishes and it looks cluttered.
You know what's super annoying to me? Designers who are like, you really should not let people know that you have a fridge in your kitchen.
Yeah.
You're like, but I need the fridge. And I'm not like, there's no sense of shame that I have when you walk into my home and like, did you see that they have a fridge in the kitchen? These people.
They keep their cold food right out
I
there
feel
in
like
the
I'd
open
be-
for you to see.
I feel like I'd be more shocked if you didn't have a fridge. Like, do these people go to the store every day?
If you need a dish rack in your kitchen to dry dishes, which means that you clean them, because they could sit there dirty. Good on you for that. You know the HGTV shows where they're like, Bob and Jane are a librarian and a public
And he's a
steward.
part-time dog walker.
Yeah, and their budget for their house is $900,000. You're like, what the
That's
heck
not
is
real.
this?
Who are these people?
There's ones that are out there like Bob and Jane are immigrants from blah blah blah,
Yeah.
and their budget is with Kamala Harris at least $25,000 down payment.
Well, they definitely got more than just plants in
Yeah.
the inheritance.
I remember seeing an episode of that show back when I used to sit around at Christmas time with my relatives and watch it, and seeing somebody that they were like, they're looking for villas in southern Italy. And it was $1 million budgets, these crazy places. He's a part-time voice actor. I'm like, no. I know what that pays, and it ain't nothing.
Kind of like radio.
This is false. By the way, one of the reasons they say that you should not have a dish rack is that you could put a plant in its place.
Oh, heck.
They really like plants. They really like plants.
I'll just have my gardener take care of them.
Yeah.
Jared, we got a new plan.
He's a
It's gonna be
part-time voice
we have
actor.
4 kids and a dog. I think that's enough.
He's a part-time voice actor. You've never heard of him, and his budget is $1 million for a second villa. All right. Anyway, junk mail and other miscellaneous papers. Just get rid of them.
Oh man, it's the day where I'm like, nobody's calling me. Nobody's like, hey, where are you at on this bill or anything like that. These papers can go.
Yeah, what is this nirvana that you live in, HGTV, where you don't have to keep papers around? I got papers all over the friggin' house. Everywhere I look, there's papers. I got to deal with stuff all the time. Stupid papers. I got to order the kids' pictures now.
You're holding paper right now.
I know, I hate it. Next one is old clothes that no longer fit. Do you have a tough time getting rid of that T-shirt that has some sentimental value, even though you never wear it? Brad.
What are you looking at me for? All of my oversized clothes I got rid of real fast, except for the most comfortable ones, and then I use those for sleeping shirts.
You're telling me there's nothing in your closet that you're just hanging on to out of sentimental value, even though you don't wear it?
Oh, no. There's stuff in my closet that I don't wear, but...
Ethan's a yes.
No, this is a big issue for me. I have a bunch of them from like when I was younger or in high school that I've maybe I'll like have them made into like a blanket or something.
It's never gonna happen.
No, they've been there. What year is it? 24. We're 5 years in, and we're for 5.
Aglaonema Silver Bay. What kind of name for a plant is that?
Is that what you have?
That was a spell, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
A witch spell.
Yeah.
It was Agatha all along.
How come I got donkey ears?
It looks like that. And
you really found that, didn't you? You sat there and researched this, and you found the plant.
Aglaonema. Sorry, Mom.
Nope, take it back.
Can't take it.
We don't like witchcraft on this show. We are believers in Jesus. How about old clothes that no longer fit? Really
because
quick.
you're a believer in Jesus doesn't mean that the occult doesn't exist.
No, but we don't want to dabble. Old clothes that no longer fit.
You seem to know a lot about this. I've had 4 babies. Do you have any idea what my closet looks like? I can be any size that I want to be.
You know what? Take the rest of the segment and just talk about it.
I will. Okay, it's time to go. Let's talk to Deroy Murdock when we come back. And Todd Sivia of Sivia Law going to answer your questions about estate plannings and wills and trusts. Leave your comments on the YouTube. We'll be right back.
Warning, the following ZipRecruiter radio spot you are about to hear is going to be filled with F words.
When you're hiring, we at ZipRecruiter know you can feel frustrated, forlorn even, like your efforts are futile, and you can spend a fortune trying to find fabulous people, only to get flooded with candidates who are just fine. Fortunately, ZipRecruiter figured out how to fix all of that. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. With ZipRecruiter, you can forget your frustrations because we find the right people for your roles fast, which is our absolute favorite F word. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day.
Fantastic.
So, whether you need to hire 4, 40, or 400 people, get ready to meet first-rate talent. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio to try ZipRecruiter for free. Don't forget, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Finally, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
You entrusted a nursing home with the care of a loved one, but they violated that trust. If your family member has been the victim of nursing home neglect, call Onder Law at 844-BED-SORE.
Tony LaRussa here. Men, are you running out of stamina rounding third base? If so, call my friends at Victory Men's Health in O'Fallon, Illinois. Scoring at home is important, just as important as crossing the plate with the winning run. VictoryMen'sHealth.com.
You've been listening to the very popular Wellness One for many years, Saturdays and Sundays on 97.1 FM Talk. We're happy to share that we've expanded the show to 4 times a week. Yes, 4 times every weekend. Saturday at 10 a.m., Saturday at 8 p.m., Sunday at 9 a.m., and Sunday at 2 p.m. It's the same great show designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you a common sense, science-based strategy for a healthy life. So join TJ and Aaron for Wellness One. Now 4 times a week on 97.1 FM Talk.
And a lot of people, when they come in, they'll say, I'm usually much more active, but since I've been in pain, I've had to limit the activities I'm doing.
You're listening to Janelle, an arch support specialist at the Good Feet store.
So he came in and he wanted to be able to keep up play sports with his kids. And from there, we figure out which arch supports complement those activities. I fit him with the arch supports, and as I followed up with him, he's messaged me and said, I took my kids to the park today. We're walking, we're exercising, riding the bikes, and those are all things that he wasn't doing before because he was in pain.
For over 25 years, the Good Feet Store's arch support specialists have been helping folks to live the life they love without foot, knee, hip, or back pain getting in the way.
Our goal is to have that long-term change for them. That's what's most important, is knowing that you leave an impact on someone's life. And I like that.
Try them for yourself. Stop in for a free personalized fitting and test walk at the Good Feet Store.
Visit one of our 2 locations, Creve Coeur and Shiloh, Illinois, and at goodfeet.com.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio.
That's GetJim.com.
97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Getting Americans out of Lebanon. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. But it's not a mass evacuation.
We have been working to make seats available or to find seats available on existing commercial flights.
State Department spokesman Matthew Miller says they were able to find hundreds of seats in recent days, and not all were filled.
And then today we were able to organize a flight from Beirut to Istanbul to allow other American citizens to leave.
He says some seats on that flight were also not used. Israel and Iran-backed Hezbollah are fighting in South Lebanon as Israel also weighs a response to Iran's ballistic missile attack on Israel yesterday. President Biden says Iran will face sanctions after a call with fellow G7 leaders.
We're making it clear that there are things that have to be done. And it's obviously Iran has gone way is way off board.
Also telling reporters that Israel has a right to respond, but that he would not support an attack on Iran's nuclear sites. Iran claiming it acted in self-defense and calling Israel the aggressor during a UN Security Council meeting today. On day 2 of a dock workers' strike at 36 U.S. ports, another call from the president for a quick settlement, especially as parts of the southeast struggle to recover from Hurricane Helene.
President Biden says there are already reports of product not getting where it needs to be because of a port strike on the Atlantic and Gulf Coast.
This natural disaster is incredibly consequential. The last thing we need on top of that is a man-made disaster, what's going on at the ports.
The Longshoremen's Union walked off the job after labor talks broke down. The president says owners of the ports have made incredible profits since the pandemic. He says both sides need to sit at the table and get a deal done.
Fox's Jared Halper and the president resisting calls from some industry groups to intervene with executive power. America is listening to Fox News.
October is Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and LifeLock is here to elevate your protection game. Using the same simple password across all your accounts, that's risky. While updating your passwords to be more unique is a good start, true peace of mind comes with LifeLock. LifeLock doesn't just alert you to suspicious activity, but monitors for more uses of your personal info and will fix identity theft issues that arise, guaranteed, or your money back. Secure your identity today with a 30-day free trial at LifeLock.com. Use promo code NEWS. Terms apply.
Point! Hey, you okay? You don't normally miss those shots.
I just haven't been as regular lately, and it's making me feel sluggish.
You should try Metamucil. It's been a game changer for me. Metamucil's plant-based psyllium fiber helps trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Ace! You're moving better than you were last week.
Definitely.
Metamucil keeps you moving. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Learn more at metamucil.com.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Spectacular October weather going through our Wednesday afternoon. Lots of sunshine, light winds, low humidity, excellent temperatures, 74 for the high. Tonight, clear skies, quick drop into the 60s this evening, 51 for the overnight low. Chilly, but not as chilly as last night. Thursday, sunny, warmer, 82. Friday, sunny, 82. Do the same Saturday and Sunday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Attention, Missouri residents in need of care at home. If you have Medicaid and need assistance with daily activities, you can receive free in-home care from a loved one. Funded by Medicaid with no cost to you, Freedom Care, Missouri's #1 home care provider, gives you the power to choose who provides your care, and they get paid instantly. Imagine your daughter, son, a close relative, or trusted friend helping you with cooking, transportation, laundry, and other activities in your own home. You get the help you need, and your caregiver gets paid instantly after their shift. Freedom Care has over 5,000 five-star Google reviews and is #1 in Missouri for in-home care. If you have Medicaid and want great care from a loved one that's 100% free to you, go to freedomcare.com or call 314-557-3027. That's 314-557-3027. 314-557-3027.
When you're approaching retirement, there are a lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risks before you retire. Our team can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. Or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Experience the beauty of custom-crafted windows that enhance your home's aesthetics and energy efficiency. Look no further than Infinity from Marvin, proudly brought to you by Lakeside Renovation and Design. Why choose Infinity? These windows are not just strong, they're 8 times stronger than vinyl, providing unmatched security for your home. Plus, with Lakeside's expert installation, you're guaranteed precision and perfection. Visit our showroom or call Lakeside Renovation and Design today. Elevate your home with Infinity from Marvin, where strength meets style.
If you're looking for all the comforts of home plus some in a senior living community, check out Hampton Manor of Wentzville, just off the Lake St. Louis exit at Highway 70. They'll even treat you to lunch. Set up your appointment today and tell them Mark Cox sent you. WentzvilleAssistedLiving.com.
Together, we can help those who've been affected by Hurricane Helene. Your financial donation to the Red Cross is the focus of this month's Conservatives Care. Visit redcross.org, call 1-800-RED-CROSS, or text the word Helene to 90999. Message and data rates apply.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
I understand something. Why is it that, I mean, he's like a serial exaggerator or fabricator of his own personal narrative. He's been asked about it twice, once by Dana Bash, once in this debate. And in both cases, he sort of defaulted to some, like in Dana's case, it was, I don't have good grammar. Tonight, I think he said, well, I'm just a knucklehead. Like, why can't you just sort of own up to it? I don't understand. Yeah. I know you said people think he's authentic and that, this is just who he is, but he has clearly gone way over the line on his own personal narrative, something that only he would know the facts of. Yeah. And he's done it repeatedly. And when asked about it, effectively, he's just like, well, I'm too dumb to tell the truth.
Scott Jennings on CNN, they're talking about the serial exaggeration of Tim Walz. It's interesting because the exaggeration that you get from Tim Walz, there's not also this other understanding of who he is. There's not really other substance outside of the exaggeration other than the insistence that we call him coach. Like, that's just supposed to mean something. Let's get to our friend Deroy Murdock to talk about last night's vice presidential debate, nationally syndicated columnist and Fox News contributor. Deroy, welcome back. What'd you think of last night's debate?
Annie, great to talk to you again. I thought it was a very good night for
J.D. Vance, he came in with a lot of people having heard that he's mean and weird and cold, misogynistic, maybe racist, and he came across, I think, as calm, incredibly relaxed, self-confident in a good way without being arrogant, and very empathetic. I think at one point Walz said something about his 17-year-old son witnessing somebody being shot, and Vance said, well, I'm very sorry to hear your son went through that traumatic experience, or words to that effect. I thought he came across as very open and very interested in the plight of women, talking about women being able to earn more money, to give themselves more options, being able to have more financial success to take care of things like childcare. And I thought the humility he expressed on abortion, that the GOP had to do better on that issue. I think it really was just very candid about the fact that GOP's had trouble expressing ourselves very clearly on that issue since the Dobbs decision. I think that humility probably went far towards giving him at least a second look on the part of maybe even pro-abortion women who might have turned their backs on him initially.
Yeah, I think that there was such a human element. I'll even extend it over to Tim Walz last night to be able to watch two candidates who were supposed to be on opposite sides of the political aisle have a conversation that was still shrouded in a gentlemanly exchange of thoughts and ideas. There wasn't really any raised voices. The only raised voice that might have come from last night was J.D. Vance talking over the muted mics. No muted mics, no fact-checking, and there you have CBS muting J.D. Vance's mic after they fact-check him incorrectly, and he fact-checks the fact-checkers, but they apparently didn't want to have anything to do with that.
Yeah, we heard from CBS that they were going to break from what we'd seen in the previous, not so much the first debate, but certainly the second, with the moderators fact-checking Trump 5 times, Kamala Harris 0 times, even though Kamala Harris said repeated things that weren't true. And despite all the publicity about, we'll leave the fact-checking to candidates, the moderators, in fact, fact-checked J.D. Vance a couple of times, and he fact-checked the fact-checker, if you will, on that. So I thought that was well done. And yes, I agree with you. The debate was incredibly cordial and very low-key. I guess there just isn't that level of animosity that you saw in the debate between Trump and Harris, who, as far as I can tell, pretty much loathe each other. And I think the Trump-Biden debate, where Trump was pretty restrained, he didn't seem to get angry, but I don't think there's much love lost between Joe Biden and Donald J. Trump.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Deroy, when you were listening to Tim Walz and his exaggerations, and we've listened to Kamala Harris repeat the same lines over and over and over again. She was raised in a middle-class family. We know that. I don't even know what it means at this point.
Yeah, what does that mean, right?
I mean, many people were, and if you rise above that, that's still something to champion. I think that the right is correct on that issue. But we don't have a lot about what these two individuals on this Democrat ticket want to do that is different than what we are experiencing right now while Kamala Harris is in office as the vice president of the United States. Are they trying to make a case that it's a new way forward other than just saying over and over and over it's a new way forward?
I'd love to hear a candidate come out and either say, I was born dirt poor. We barely could find dinner every night. We had to forage through garbage cans for lunch. Or I was born on a yacht. We had caviar every night. I mean, either one of those things would be refreshing at this point. Everyone seems to be born in the middle class. I think you make the same point that J.D. Vance made a couple of times, which is if the ideas Kamala Harris is presenting as the new way forward are so great, why does she go to Joe and say, Joe, hey, why don't we push this? Let's sign this now. Frankly, if she did that and she could get these things signed while she's on the campaign trail, imagine Joe Biden flying out, meeting her somewhere in Arizona or Pennsylvania or Wisconsin and signing the bill that provides this $5,000 down payment for housing, or the price gouging legislation that she wants to do, whatever it is. She's had 3.5 years to push these ideas if they're so brilliant, and she hasn't done so. And if she is pushing a new way forward, a question that suggests that the current way is one that ought to be abandoned, except the current way from which we'd be going forward is the way which we're on now for the last 3.5 going on 4 years under Harris and Biden. So she's in the unusual situation of being essentially an incumbent who, rather than embracing her own program as Ronald Reagan did when he ran when he promoted Republicans in the 82. This goes back 42 years now. In the 1982 midterm elections, the slogan all Republicans used was "Stay the course." Could continue with Reaganomics. The thought was during the recession of '82 that the benefits hadn't kicked in, but if we stayed the course, eventually they would, which they did. But instead, she's saying we need to get off this course we're on. Don't stay the course, abandon the course, even though the course is the one that she's produced. And if it's such a wonderful thing, we should reward her, even though she's basically saying the current way forward is a bad one. We need a new one, which suggests that we need to get rid of the incumbent. So it's a very contradictory message, which is why Harris and Walz seem to trip over their words so often.
Yeah. Deroy Murdock speaking with us right now, Fox News contributor and nationally syndicated columnist. All of this to say it just matters what the American people, the American voter, takes away from it. I mean, we have one debate where I think we could summarize the whole thing, and they're eating the cats and they're eating the dogs. I had 7th grade volleyball players singing that at a volleyball practice, and I'm like, do you know who said that? And they're like, yeah, Trump. And I was like, okay, keep serving. It's so bizarre that you can have these things of great consequence. They get on the internet, they get transformed into memes. It just matters what the American people take away from it. And we might be done with debates right now. Do you think that they've swayed the American public one way or the other?
Well, I mean, certainly the first debate did. That was the end of Joe Biden's political career, so that was probably the most consequential political debate ever. I think the second one seemed to be kind of a wash. I think, frankly, Kamala Harris did a better job in the debate than Trump did, although the polls didn't really reflect that. She didn't get much of a bounce. In fact, Trump might have gone up a couple of points afterwards. I think that this debate last night definitely will work, I think, to some degree to Trump's benefit. Again, we'd heard from the media. They just, of course, went completely overboard, talking about all sorts of bizarre things about J.D. Vance having, I'm trying to think, how can I put this politely in a family-related program, a deep and abiding interest in furniture.
Let's a relationship with the couch.
A relationship for anybody who wants to look that up can go look that up on your own.
Yeah.
The thing about single women with cats, the cat ladies and all this, and that he deep down doesn't like women, and he's weird, and on and on. So I think people who didn't know much about him probably tuned in expecting to see that. And that guy wasn't there. We saw a young, very self-confident, very well-spoken political leader who was very much in charge of his brief and understood what to say and was very, very relaxed and calm. And then with Tim Walz, who a lot of people may never have seen before, he seemed very jumpy, very nervous, very defensive. He couldn't give a clear answer as to whether he showed up in China before, during, or after the Tiananmen Square massacre. His answer to that was just a mess. He could have said, look, I guess, after 35 years, I got the date screwed up. Sorry about that. No, that would have been a credible answer. I conflated my arrival there with what happened a couple months earlier, and maybe I had, mashed the two together. People do that sort of thing. But, he didn't give a clear answer. He seemed very, very evasive on that. And I thought probably the best line of the night, as far as I'm concerned, was when J.D. Vance said that President Trump doesn't just have a plan, he has a record, and talked about all the stuff that Trump did when he was president, that he's already been president for 4 years. And we had an economy that was thriving at the time. We had peace in the Middle East. We didn't have Iranian missiles landing in Tel Aviv and throughout Israel. We had the Abraham Accords with, I believe, Bahrain, Dubai, Morocco, and Sudan signing peace agreements with Israel. Peace breaking out all over. Now look at the place. The place is literally in flames. So I thought that was a very good way of reminding people that Trump has been there before, and he was there at least certainly up until COVID. We had things in pretty good shape. The border was under control. Crime was under control. Inflation was 1.4% versus almost 3% now, and as high as 9.1% at one point under Biden and Harris. I think the one thing I wish a couple of things I wish Vance had done. Number one is I think every time Vance and Trump speak before any audience, get in front of any mic, they should ask the question, are you better off now under Kamala Harris, or were you better off under Trump? And I think almost anybody objectively will say things are better under Trump, number one. Number two, in 3 debates, both the Trump-Biden debate, the Trump-Harris debate, and then the Vance-Walz debate, I did not hear either Republican discuss no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, or no tax on Social Security benefits. Those are three big ideas, very good ideas, and I don't know why they're not in these fantastic opportunities to share them with tens of millions of American people, not discussing those policies. But for some reason, they just forget to bring them up, which is really too bad.
Yeah, it really is quite something. Well, I think that we've got 34 days left. In Illinois, where I live, people are voting already. And
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it is. But we got to get out, and we've got to get poll workers signed up. We have to work to get ballots harvested where it's legal to do that. The Democrats are going to be doing it. And I really think that, we have these conversations right here, and it helps people kind of think through and develop their own perspectives on these issues. But the real measurable effect of debates like this, it gets people talking, and those person-to-person contacts that are happening not on the radio, but in the office or with family or at the sports game that evening. I think those are the ones that are going to have a major impact. And I think you do a wonderful job of helping lead those conversations for those people when they listen to the show.
Well, thank you very much. And I agree with you. A lot of people think, gee, what can I do? I don't own a PAC. I can't write a $50,000 check, whatever. If you can't do anything else, register to vote yourself. Make sure your friends and relatives and neighbors are registered to vote. When you go to vote, bring those folks with you. And then in your conversations with your friends, your relatives, people at the barber shop, folks at the grocery store, your fellow workers at your work site, talk about this stuff and, educate them. A lot of people hear things like, Trump wants a bloodbath, and just tell him no. He said that there would be a bloodbath in the auto industry if at that time Biden got reelected. He said both sides in Charlottesville were very fine people. No, he said that did not apply to the white nationalists and the neo-Nazis. And just explain to people a lot of what they've heard, unfortunately, if they just listen to the regular regime media, is either inaccurate or an outright lie or totally fabricated, or any combination of the three. And so if nothing else, you just give people the facts, the figures, the reality, and the truth. I think that will be a huge service. And so I urge everybody who's listening to us, if you can write a check for $100,000, please do. But if you don't, register to vote. Make sure folks are registered to vote. And then, educate those people in your own circle about the truth about Trump and Vance. And frankly, the view, I think that we're all better off under Trump than we back in his time than we are currently under Kamala Harris. And if you want to keep bring the good times back, the answer is obvious. Vote for Donald J. Trump.
Yeah, it's a completely obvious answer. You're absolutely right. Deroy, thank you. As always, we love talking to you. Thanks for being here.
Great talking to you. Okay, thanks very much. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. Deroy Murdock, nationally syndicated columnist and Fox News contributor. Great to have him on the show with us. When we come back, I'm really excited to have Todd Sivia in studio with us, a new sponsor of the Annie Fry Show. He is the attorney and owner at Sivia Law. You can go to SIVIA, SiviaLaw.com, to learn more about what he can help you with, especially when it comes to wills, trusts, estate, probate questions. These are questions that I often have because you don't know about this stuff until you know. Maybe you have a friend or a family member that is having to deal with an estate that really wasn't planned out or filed or thought through. I want you to give us a comment on the Annie Fry YouTube channel if you have questions you would like me to ask Todd about estate planning and recommendations on how to get this done in a way that might be unique to your situation, or just general questions that you have. Powers of attorney as well. He is ready to answer your questions. We're going to have some conversations with him for the rest of the 1 o'clock hour. So I'd love to include your thoughts and questions in that as well with Todd Sivia, who's in studio with us here on the Annie Fry Show next.
This is the Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Stewart's American Mortgage and the Bagel Loan. Just one quick phone call starts the process to lowering that interest rate that you secured in 2022, maybe 2023. Get that lower rate secured with the Bagel Loan, because then you don't pay any closing costs to go through the process to do that. You can save thousands of dollars on a refinance of your current mortgage by talking to Stewie from Stewart's American Mortgage. You can Google the bagel loan to find out more information, or you can reach out to him directly. This is Stewie's personal number. When I call Stewie to talk to him about whatever it is that's going on in the world, this is the number I call to have that chat with him. He wants me to give it to you also so that you can get your mortgage right. Or if you're looking to purchase a home and use the bagel loan to save all of the money that you'd be paying on closing costs, you can purchase your home without any closing costs on that mortgage as well. 314-324-4440. 314-324-4440 is the number to call or text. 314-324-4440. Google the bagel loan and MLS number 226715.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Join us for our first ever Trade Day sale at Apache Village RV. So hook up your camper and join us Thursday through Saturday, October 10th through the 12th at both of our locations at 9001 Dunn Road in Hazelwood or 971 Wilmer Road in Wentzville for barbecue, beverages, and a free trade evaluation. We guarantee at least $1,000 over the national average for your trade-in with the purchase of any new RV. Your trade will never be worth more than it is today. As this camping season winds down, save up to 25% off MSRP. These prices will never be better. Check out all of our new 2024 and 2025 Jayco, Keystone, Fleetwood, and Bontrager Outdoors inventory. Mention this 97.1 ad for a chance to win a $500 gift certificate to our parts store. For 3 years in a row, we have won the best RV dealer in the St. Louis Post-Dispatch headliners. Our commitment to you starts when you walk through the door. Go one better. Go Apache Village RV in Hazelwood and in Wentzville, October 10th through 12th. Trade value dependent upon condition of trade unit at time of delivery.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-924-7415. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-924-7415. 800-924-7415. 800-924-7415.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is hiring licensed journeymen. Don't have a journeyman license? Air Comfort Service will help you get it. Get guaranteed hours year-round and more. Apply online at aircomfortservice.com.
The Mark Reardon Show.
Scott Jennings. These people in North Carolina are devastated. People are dying. People are unaccounted for. And we don't have a president right now that can really effectively address the nation about anything. And this is a bad deal, man.
Weekdays from 3 to 6. This is the Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Every night I have the strangest dream, imprisoned by the way I could have been, left you on my own arm, so it seems I've got to leave before I start to scream, 'cause someone locked the door and took the key. Feeling alright.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. Fresh off of a vice presidential debate evening and feeling pretty good. Feeling better than all right, I might say, about the debate performance of J.D. Vance last night. We'll talk more about that in the 2 o'clock hour. We got some fun reaction video. I have some fun things I can't wait to show you. And I don't know how much of this that you, Brad, and Ryan have seen, but there's some good stuff, reaction stuff out there that we'll talk about here in the 2 o'clock hour. But I'm also excited to welcome into our studio, we've got Todd Sivia in here, and Sivia Law is a new sponsor here on the Annie Fry Show. But I've been in the same circles as Todd Sivia for quite some time, and I was really excited to be able to bring on somebody who I can recommend to you when it comes to planning your estate. This is something people have a ton of questions about, and you kind of get analysis paralysis when it comes time to going in and making the decisions. It just seems so overwhelming. Todd, first of all, welcome into the studio. Thank you for being in here.
Well, thank you so much.
One of the things that was really astonishing to me is that when it comes to wills and trusts and powers of attorney, you have a 2-week turnaround for completed documents.
Absolutely.
From that first sit-down strategy session.
Absolutely. From that strategy session, we're usually there. We're trying to get everything completed. We have a very refined process because I can give you example upon example where people waited, they sat down and talked to me, and then within 2 or 3 months they pass away, and they still don't have anything signed. And if you don't have it signed, there is no estate plan. So it is so important for a quick turnaround with the process. I was actually talking to some guys from Farm Credit. Where, they would see guys that, spend 6 months to a year going through the process and trying to get the estate completed. And, there's usually from our perspective, we want to give you a plan. We want to tell you exactly, here's your process, here's the steps, here's where we think we're gonna resolve things and move forward. So.
Yeah. People are talking about how long probate takes on the YouTube live chat poll. For you to be able to commit to a 2-week turnaround for this estate plan versus how long does it take? Should that estate planning not get done, everything goes into probate. Probate's a word that I think a lot of people have heard but maybe don't really understand. Yeah. What is probate, and what is the consequence of not spending just that 2-week time period to get this done?
Absolutely. So probate is a process. Basically, you file a lawsuit against each other, and you go through this process, and it's called probate because no one can sign, for example, the deed to the house. No one can sign that. The only person that can sign it is a judge. So you have to go through this whole process and making sure everything is tidied up and accounted for and everything else like that. In the state of Illinois, it's a 2-year process. So, and with that, I always go back to my Uncle Gene. My Uncle Gene, love him to death. He had a will. And wills, a lot of people don't realize this, but wills go through probate. And if you have a will, it goes through probate. And in his circumstance, he had 26 nieces and nephews that he left a little portion to each one of us. And he passed away. And I was one of those 26 nieces and nephews that received funds. And through that process, it took 2 years. And after it was done, my mom said one poignant comment that I thought was that I share with everybody is, we can now start the grieving process.
Oh yeah,
because it's now done. So that's the hardship with regards to probate. Whereas my grandfather, he had a trust, and my mom was the sole beneficiary of that trust. And my mom came to me at the funeral of my grandfather. said, "What's my next steps?" I said, "Well, Mom, go into the bank, change the name from you from the trust to you, and you're done."
And that's it.
That's it for her. So, it doesn't always get that. It's not always that simple, but she was a sole owner, a sole beneficiary of that trust.
So I want to talk about trusts versus wills. You've mentioned that wills always go through probate.
Yes.
Trusts give you an extra shield of privacy, speed, potential loss of money.
Yeah.
A will. What does a will do? Let's start at the beginning. What's the difference between a will and a trust?
Will and a trust. The difference between a will and a trust. I mean, the will is specifying all your directions, but in order to enforce it, we have to prove that it is in existence, and that is the last will. So you have to go through and file the probate action to get it approved that was the last will. Whereas if it's a trust, the trust is already there, and everything is titled into that name of the trust, which is kind of a key important point, making sure that it's funded. But that's really the difference is probate, will is having a certain direction, and versus a trust, which continues life beyond the person's death.
Yeah.
So that's an important distinction between the two.
I think it's so important for people to know these things and to be able to ask questions about it, because you can. It's hard to know anything about this world until you have a brush with it, and hopefully your first brush with it isn't where you are very personally attached to the situation. You might hear of a friend who's experienced the loss of a parent or something like that, and it's super easy for them, and they're so grateful that everything was set up so that it was turnkey like that, or often it's a disaster.
It's typically the disaster. That's what you're hearing is, oh my gosh, I got to go to court, I got to go do this, I got to go talk to the attorney, and it's not just one time visiting the attorney, it's multiple times. I got to visit the attorney's office and go through this accounting, and oh, by the way, you're in court. So if anybody wants to fight anything, you're already in court.
Yeah.
So, you've got a lawyer for the estate. One of your relatives may have a lawyer that fights different issues. So
talk to me about if when somebody creates a trust, they designate a trustee, maybe trustees.
Yes.
What is that person? What does that mean to be a trustee?
Trustee is basically just the handler of the assets. So they're responsible. So you want somebody responsible to manage the trust or manage whatever, and it's somebody that is good with money. A lot of times you find somebody that they do it based upon birth order or this or that. They really don't think, well, are they really good with money? Can they manage it? Do they get overwhelmed with circumstances? How are they during crises? And, how many times have they bought and sold a house? Because those are the end of life things that we have to handle.
Is there a difference between being a trustee and an heir?
The difference between a trustee and an heir is the trustee is managing the money, and they could be one and the same. So, maybe, like I've got 3 kids at home. If I named one of them as a trustee, then they could manage everything, sell off everything, and also be the heir. Heir is the person that is receiving those benefits.
Mm-hmm. But you might be an heir and not a trustee.
Correct.
And still entitled to what is determined by what is set by the individuals who created the trustee. Like, what kind of decision-making power does the trustee have, or is that usually stipulated before they become the trustee?
It's all set out in the terms. So it's very clear on these terms, and it's based upon what the document says. It depends upon how long the trust is and what authority it gives you in different circumstances. So, is the person alive, is the person dead? Are they managing the assets today while we're dealing with nursing homes or something along those lines?
Somebody's incapacitated, or
right? Or is it after post-death? And there's different rules with regards to all of that. And what we're looking for as an attorney what are the issues that we've got to speak about. So
yeah, it's all very, very important stuff, because once the time passes and it's too late, it is officially too late. The website is sivialaw.com, Sivia law.com. And we're speaking with Todd Sivia of Sivia Law. He's the owner and attorney at Sivia Law. They have locations in Edwardsville, Wentzville, East Dalton, Swansea, and Mount Vernon. We're going to take a break here because I've got some thoughts and comments coming in from people who are reacting to this conversation. And if you have a specific question that you would like me to ask our expert attorney, Todd Sivia, Annie Fry YouTube channel, come on there and just leave a comment and let us know a question in the comment section, what we can ask Todd, and get some expertise answer to your question. So go to sivialaw.com in the break, and when we come back, we'll get to some of your questions and thoughts with Todd Sivia in studio on The Annie Fry Show.
This is The Annie Fry Show.
I just can't waste my time. I must get done. Gotta stop believing the boy lies. Cause there's too much to do before I die.
The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
The Retirement Advisory Group, you find them online at retirementkey.com, had yet another wonderful evening last night with a room full of folks who want to make sure that they invest in that worry-free retirement. And they know that going to Bob and Tammy Kershaw and Thomas Helbig of the Retirement Advisory Group is the way forward. Now, if you didn't get to go to one of the events this year, we'll have more next year. You can set up your free, no cost, no obligation at all retirement review when you contact the Retirement Advisory Group at 314-993-9494. That's 314-993-9494. And the website is retirementkey.com. You'll be able to find out how much income you'll have in retirement and also how long the money that you've saved so far will last you. This is empowering. This gives you the peace of mind to enter into retirement with an understanding of what happens next. That's going to help you enjoy retirement exactly the way you wanted to. If that means sitting on your porch or traveling the world or anything in between, let the folks at the Retirement Advisory Group guide you into that worry-free retirement. 314-993-9494, retirementkey.com.
If you need a new garage door, this could be your lucky day. Entries are now open for the $5,000 sweepstakes at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. A winner will be chosen at random to receive $5,000 towards new garage doors, openers, or front entry doors of their choice. Deadline to enter is the end of the month to win the $5,000 sweepstakes with Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Enter now at overheaddoorsstlouis.com. You can't win if you don't enter at overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
I'm John Oran, Puck's sports correspondent, and I have a new podcast called The Varsity, where I will take you inside the executive suites and owners' boxes that run the entire sports business. Twice a week, I will bring on the smartest people I know to break down the hottest topics in sports media and give you a window into the inside conversations that are happening throughout sports media. So be sure to follow and listen to The Varsity Podcast, available now on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Celebrate the spooky season with Zero Res and get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at $129 and take $75 off your air duct cleaning. Book online at ZeroResSTL.com or call 314-474-2020. You spell it backward or forward, it spells the same. Zero Res.
Who won the vice presidential debate last night? Was it J.D. Vance or was it Tim Walz? Or was it the moderators? Or was it Annie Fry, who's looking over my shoulder, waving into the camera right now? If you
Was
want
it
to
Ryan?
see, I mean,
With
really,
the food?
was it Todd Sivia?
Time to go to break.
I mean, who was it? Really? YouTube live chat poll. Let us know who you think won the VP debate last night. It is 141. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
You've got thoughts. Did you know you also have a microphone? Listen to 97.1 on the Odyssey app and click the microphone to leave a voice message. Whatever's on your mind, let us know by clicking the microphone in the Odyssey app.
on the YouTube channel?
I am not talking much because I'm trying to keep up with him.
Okay.
So, yes.
If you have questions for Todd Sivia of SiviaLaw.com, new sponsor of the Annie Fry Show and friend of mine, excited to have him a part of the Annie Fry Show family, estate planning, wills, trust. I will also tell you right now, you need to give him a call directly if you have any questions about anything regarding estate planning, wills, powers of attorney, so on and so forth. 833-995-WILL. That's 833-995-WILL. Or SiviaLaw.com, and I will tell you he has multiple locations in Missouri and Illinois. He can serve both of those areas, so please reach out to him directly with personal ones that you might want to talk in a little more depth with. So before we get to your questions, real quick, Todd, I wanted to talk to you about the aid and attendance pension. A lot of people know that if you're like kind of a part of it, the ANA pension, that veterans, I know that you are very passionate about supporting veterans, and this is something that if you are a veteran or the spouse of a veteran, you have to know about this, and you spend your time connecting veterans with these very, very important benefits.
Yes, absolutely. My grandfather was a Korean War veteran, and he was in a nursing home, and he had long-term care, but they were short on cash. You know, I mean, the cost of long-term care is $10,000 a month. And that's for to take care of you in your golden years. And you know, my grandfather had Alzheimer's, but because he was a Korean War veteran, he qualified for a program called Aid and Attendance. And Aid and Attendance is $2,600 a month if you need assistance. And there are asset requirements, there's income requirements, and things of that sort. But just because somebody says, oh, you know, I've got too much in assets, doesn't mean that we can't get you qualified for that and plan for it. We just need time. And it's so important to get that situated in time. And the most important thing is the spouse of the veteran can also qualify for that benefit as well. It's lesser amount, but it's $1,300. And you know, I've seen the numbers for a lot of clients. That extra $2,600 or even that extra $1,300 to help them in assisted living or skilled care is so important in those end of the life years. And I think that's a difference in our law firm is we focus in on that more that elder law care. And where we're planning for, we're not planning just for the probate. We're planning for everything before the end of life, making sure that everything is you've got your living wills, you've got your power of attorneys, and everything before death is all put together.
Yeah, and you can trust the people at Sivia Law to be able to guide you through this. This is one of their passion projects, and certainly fits the bill here for us, as we are very grateful for our veterans as well. And I want to tell you folks to, if you are a veteran or if you're the spouse of a veteran, to put this on your calendar. On Veterans Day, Sivia Law is offering to the first 20 veterans that call each of their 5 offices. You have to reach out to them on Veterans Day. For the first 20 veterans at each of their 5 offices that call 833-995-WILL on Veterans Day are going to receive complimentary health and financial powers of attorney. And that is the Sivia Law sign of gratitude for your service. This is a $300 value. And if you are the first to call on Veterans Day, that number, 833-995-WILL on Veterans Day, first 20, you get that opportunity complimentary of Sivia Law. So I really appreciate you extending that as part of our partnership with them.
Absolutely.
To start out here. It's a great way to thank our veterans. Brad, let's go to you first. You got a question from somebody on the Annie Fry YouTube channel?
This one's from Robert on the chat, and he wants to know the difference between a trustee and an executor. And I had a follow-up question to that after.
Yeah. I mean, most of the time with trustees and executors, they could be one and the same because one, the trustee refers to the trust, a executor refers to a will. So it's just it's the same type of person, but it's the different instrument. So one could be, you know, if you have a trust, you may have a pour over will and a trust, and they may be the same people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So it could be the same people, but with wills it's called executors and trust it's called trustees.
Okay. So I've been made executor on some family members, different family members ones, and one of the things that I wanted to ask is do you? One family member is very precise, very all T's crossed, all I's dotted, that sort of thing. Do you guys ever do any sort of like if they want to come in and hey, this is what I have, can you double check my homework kind of checkup on a will, on a trust, or anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. We always are willing to take a look at the different what you have, and we always follow up and say, do you have everything situated? Because I've seen a lot of attorneys where they'll draft all these wonderful documents, but then I ask them, okay, what on your bank account? Who owns your bank account? You have a trust, but is your bank account owned by the trust? And I would say 99% of the time, that's not the case.
Ooh.
Oh man.
So the checkup is maybe a good idea.
The checkup is kind of a good thing, because you spend all this money on a trust, and in all reality, it all goes through probate anyway because nothing is titled, and that
that's why you need to have somebody in charge that knows these details, because you can think you're doing everything, and then you miss out on one major detail that you just didn't know about or they didn't know about, and big problems.
Yeah, because trust funding is like if you go to an attorney and they don't offer trust funding, I'd
when
walk
you say
out.
trust funding, what do you mean by funding the trust?
Funding means putting all your assets into the trust,
making sure that it's
making sure that
all the way through,
because you may have beneficiaries on something, and if you have a beneficiary on something, that eliminates everything you did in your trust or everything in your will.
So if I have a beneficiary on my 401k, or a life insurance policy through my work, that supersedes
what
everything. The trust says.
Correct. So for example, if you have kids,
I got a lot of them,
and you name them as your beneficiary on your life insurance policy, and they're under the age of 18, it drops to them, and it doesn't follow your will.
But I can name my trust as my beneficiary.
You name your
on the life
trust
insurance.
on the life insurance,
and that is called funding the trust.
That's called funding.
Right?
Annie made me put her as beneficiary on all my stuff. Is that
part
sound?
It's part of your responsibility.
Yeah.
That's why I hired Todd. You're going to have him check it and make sure you did it right.
This was very off the record. I don't know if she knew I was going to ask you this live.
This
but
is embarrassing.
Yeah, is that okay?
Well, that's fine. Yes.
It's fine. Oh, good.
Are you kidding me? He gets 10%.
Gosh. You guys might be in on this. All right, I'm going to pull up. There's a bunch of listener questions. I'm going to start with an easy one here. Does Todd practice in both Missouri and Illinois?
Absolutely.
Okay. I figured that one would be pretty quick. Next one is, and this sounds like it's probably like an internal family question.
Yeah.
Can there be rules placed on the trustee?
Yes.
Like what kind of rules are common?
You name it. I love talking to people about what their passions are. I've got trustees or families that say you have to start your own business in order to get anything. You have to get married to get anything. There's two good families that we can talk about. We can talk about the Vandevetters and the Rockefellers. Okay.
That's the kind of money we're talking about in your bill, right, Ryan? Just want to make sure.
But
no.
But any type of wealth, and it doesn't matter if it's a small wealth or a big wealth. But
there's Wiggins to Rockefellers.
There's Rockefellers.
That's the spectrum.
But the Vandevetters, if we watch them, within 3 generations, all that money was gone. If you look at the Rockefellers, they set it up to refund itself, and the Rockefeller money is still around.
Wow.
So within 3 generations, it could be gone. So.
You have another one?
Yeah, this one is over my head. I'm going to ask it and just assume that you know what he's talking about. Rick asks, talk about family trust versus separate trust for both spouses.
Okay.
This is pretty deep, right?
That gets a little deep.
Okay.
So in different situations, there may be a time where you have a trust for one person versus a husband and wife.
Is this like blended family stuff?
Blended families are a good example. Another time is if we have a tax problem. and we need to separate the estate. You know, a lot of times that happens as well. But I generally do joint trust versus the other way, just so that it is one consistent plan.
You're so far above me that what I'm hearing is you know what this is.
Yes, I know exactly what that is.
So basically, if you relate to this problem that Rick commented about, Sivia.com.
Yeah.
What other ones you got, Ryan?
Let's see. Just people talking about how important this is. So many people giving a little bit of their stories, adding a question here or there. I got a question just personally. I think the last time we had to deal with anything like this in my family, I was pretty young. I was probably just barely an adult. Okay. So I was aware that this was happening, but I wasn't really involved in it.
Yeah.
And I think that it had to do with a will that was just written on a piece of paper. Is that actually a legal document?
It is not a legal document.
It's not.
It's called a holographic will.
That sounds very futuristic.
Yes. But a lot of times those don't come into play. You have to have certain requirements, certain witness requirements, certain notary requirements, and then you have, I love Illinois.
No.
Tell us about it. If you need me to go into it, I will.
But I recognize a lot of, my clients don't always like Illinois, and they may leave Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
So then you have, all the notarization requirements of those different states. So typically in our when we handle a trust fund or trust signing, we're usually having, 2 witnesses and a notary to be present and have everything situated, because that covers like 49 out of the 50 states.
Okay.
So, the requirements of, like doing things on LegalZoom and things of that sort. If you don't cross your T's, dot your I's, make sure everything is situated, you may sign something and not realize, oh, I needed extra people on this or that. So it's important to, again, draft it like you want.
So how often should somebody go back and revisit looking at their will, their trust, or whatever?
So I always say any kind of life changes.
Okay.
Tax law changes. So I anticipate that next year as a big issue.
all toward the positive, right?
Can we go back and complain about
Sure.
Illinois?
Okay. Anyway, but after that, it's usually 3 to 5 years. I love people. Not everybody loves to see me as their attorney. So, I'm usually trying to predict things and think through things, the what ifs in the world. So, if I've thought through all the what ifs, it's usually 5 years before I see them again.
Okay.
Brad, so. I know we got, 90 seconds left here, 57:50?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
If we need an extra minute. But let's try to get Katie's question here, because this is kind of specific, but going through this process myself, I know I can relate to what she's asking here. If a will states how they want a trustee to distribute money, for instance, once a kid turns 18, they can have $5,000. When they turn 21, they can have the rest. Is the trustee forced to follow that request in the will?
So typically they are supposed to follow that, unless there is additional language in it that's called HEMS. Health, education, maintenance, and support. So if those provisions are in there, then it's a little bit looser. The trustee has discretion to pay those things out. For example, if the kid wants to buy a car or go to college or something along those lines, and that's typical. You want that language in there to have options. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Todd, I really appreciate you being in here today. And a lot of people, there are more questions coming in. A lot of people complimenting the fact that we're doing this segment. So if you would be so kind as to, can we have you back?
Oh, I'm sure you can.
We'll talk to your people.
We'll talk. Yeah, we'll talk to your people, and we'll hijack you for another couple of segments, maybe in another month or so, because There are a lot of unique situations, but when you start talking about it, it just is more. I mean, I hear these, and it causes you to kind of feel that tightness, that anxiety of, oh my gosh, I haven't planned for this and I haven't planned for that, which is why you turn it over to somebody. It's, I think, way more affordable than people think it's going to be. And to know that you could have all of those questions asked and all of those documents completed in 2 weeks from that initial strategy session with Sivia Law. Oh my gosh, why aren't you doing this right now? Like, just do it, get it done, and then you don't have to, every time you think about it, you exhale because you're like, I did it. Pat myself on the back. It actually is done. And then if you have questions or changes, they can come back and see you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Todd Sivia with Sivia Law, thank you for being here with us today. A reminder, they have locations in Edwardsville, Wentzville, East Alton, Swansea, and Mount Vernon. You can book your strategy session right now by calling 833-995-WILL, 833-995-WILL. One more time, 833-995-WILL. So happy to have the Sivia Law Firm as partners here with us on the Annie Fry Show. SiviaLaw.com and more debate conversation next. Don't go away.
Attention! Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-580-7766. 800-580-7766. That's 800-580-7766.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio.
That's GetJim.com.
97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
A bird's eye view of mass destruction. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. President Biden taking an aerial tour of some of the worst damage from Hurricane Helene in North Carolina, where he will also have a briefing on the ground. There's an ongoing struggle to reach isolated areas and to distribute supplies.
You really get a sense of pride, too, when you ask people if they need help. They won't really come out and say, we are desperate for help. But what they will say is, we've gotten zero help and we are helping each other. That's what we've seen so far. And the real challenge is water. They've been using river water here to flush their toilets and to wash with, but the wells are pretty much all contaminated from the flood, and that's really the danger, water to drink. That's what they really need here.
Fox's Steve Harrigan. Earlier today, the president greenlighting up to 1,000 active duty soldiers to reinforce the North Carolina National Guard. Vice President Kamala Harris gets a recovery update in Georgia, where former President Trump paid a visit on Monday. Their running mates back on the campaign trail after last night's vice presidential debate.
Part of our responsibility, part of our job, my friends, over the next 33 days is to remind Michiganders and everybody else that, yes, Kamala Harris is at fault.
Trump running mate J.D. Vance in Michigan blaming the vice president for inflation and the surge at the southern border.
We're not going to entrust her to solve the very problems that she created. We're going to entrust Donald Trump with the presidency of the United States.
Harris running mate Tim Walz kicking off a Pennsylvania bus tour as their campaign argues they're the ones who will fight for the middle class. President Biden says he would not support an attack on Iran's nuclear sites, but that Israel does have a right to respond to Iran's missile attack. The Israeli Security Cabinet meeting earlier today to consider a response. President Biden says Iran will face sanctions after he had a call with other G7 leaders today. America is listening to Fox News.
October is Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and LifeLock is here to elevate your protection game. Using the same simple password across all your accounts? That's risky. While updating your passwords to be more unique is a good start, true peace of mind comes with LifeLock. LifeLock doesn't just alert you to suspicious activity, but monitors for more uses of your personal info and will fix identity theft issues that arise, guaranteed, or your money back. Secure your identity today with a 30-day free trial at LifeLock.com. Use promo code NEWS. Terms apply.
Point.
Hey, you okay? You don't normally miss those shots.
I just haven't been as regular lately, and it's making me feel sluggish.
You should try Metamucil. It's been a game changer for me. Metamucil's plant-based psyllium fiber helps trap and remove the waste that weighs you down.
Ace!
You're moving better than you were last week.
Definitely.
Metamucil keeps you moving. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Learn more at metamucil.com.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Spectacular October weather going through our Wednesday afternoon. Lots of sunshine, light winds, low humidity, excellent temperatures, 74 for the high. Tonight, clear skies, quick drop into the 60s this evening, 51 for the overnight low. Chilly, but not as chilly as last night. Thursday, sunny, warmer, 82. Friday, sunny, 82. Do the same Saturday and Sunday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
You want to retire soon, but everyone keeps telling you to wait until you're 65. After all, that's the age that you qualify for Medicare and you're close to full retirement age. I'm Marvin Mitchell, president of Compass Retirement Solutions. In my new book, Retire Early, The 9 Critical Decisions When Retiring Before 65, I discuss proper planning to help make early retirement possible. When to take Social Security, what to do with your 401k, health care, how to maximize retirement income, and much more. Get a complimentary copy of Retire Early by calling 1-800-743-8510. That's 1-800-743-8510. Can you retire early? Call 1-800-743-8510 for your copy of Retire Early, The 9 Critical Decisions When Retiring Before 65.
Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois. Compass Retirement Solutions is not affiliated with the U.S. government or any governmental agency.
So you just heard me talking with Todd Sivia of Sivia Law, and my favorite thing to do with the power of the Annie Fry Show in 97.1 is to find the best people out there to help you with the things that you need help getting done. Todd Sivia and the Sivia Law Firm will help you with your wills, with your trusts, with your powers of attorney. And a reminder, just like we were saying when Todd was in studio here, once you call 833-995-WILL, 833-995-WILL, you schedule your strategy session, and then guess what? Once you sit down and have that conversation, within 2 weeks, you can have your documents completed from the initial sit-down appointment. Avoid probate, which can cause a loss of money, time, and privacy, and set up that trust with the Sivia Law Firm today. I've had him helping me through this process, and I'm excited to bring him to you. You can trust him. He's got locations across the bi-state region, Edwardsville, Wentzville, East Alton, Swansea, and Mount Vernon. Call and book your strategy session today. 833-995-WILL. 833-995-WILL. Sivia, S-I-V-I-A. SiviaLaw.com.
If you're experiencing low energy, brain fog, or bloating, then your body might need a detox. Active Liver from New Nordic makes it easy to help your liver to detox your body all year long without major changes to your diet or lifestyle. Active Liver is available in stores at CVS or online at Amazon.
Together, we can help those who've been affected by Hurricane Helene. Your financial donation to the Red Cross is the focus of this month's Conservatives Care. Visit redcross.org, call 1-800-RED-CROSS, or text the word Helene to 90999. Message and data rates apply.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what you're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show, especially you, Ethan. Ethan's in here doing work.
Yeah, he's just doing office work, though.
Yeah.
It's not radio work.
Ethan, that's not true.
Well, it's related to the radio because we're on the radio.
Doing work for the Mark Reardon Show.
Yeah. He's just like writing stuff and...
He's writing Mark Reardon's monologue.
Remember that at 3:05.
Tim Walz has never been better. We're excited to have Ethan now as a full-time member of the Annie Fry Show.
Am I supposed to come on a microphone right now?
Oh, no, do your work for Mark Reardon.
Okay. Yeah, just keep doing what you do. Okay.
We have to split time with the Mark Reardon Show, but we're excited to have him on in a full-time capacity now. Brad, it's good to have Ethan and an associate producer that you can rely on.
Yeah, you know what? That's kind of like the awesome thing. So for those of you who don't know, Abby moved on, and Ethan is replacing Abby, but also being our associate producer at the same time. And I had developed a relationship, a friendship with Abby, miss her, but Ethan is great. I've developed a relationship, a friendship with him. I know that I can trust him. I know that I can lean on him. And he always comes in, he's like, hey, is there anything that you need? And if I have anything, I can just give it to him, and I know that it'll get done.
God, you're just so
sweet. Would you say that you and I have developed a relationship?
You
the same way that you and Brad have?
I was just going to say, can you specify?
Let's see. How much time do we have?
25 minutes.
I don't know if there is a word to accurately describe our relationship, Wiggins.
Cute?
It's yeah, that'll do it.
There we go. I knew you were looking for it. I found it.
Yeah, that was pretty quick.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to take a lot longer than that.
No, we definitely don't want to talk for very long right now.
No.
Let's talk about the debate. Listen to this. This is so funny. Yeah, if you know, you know. Last night, so I was flipping through the channels because I felt good about the debate last night. So I wanted to peek and see what other people were saying. It didn't feel to me like that somehow or another Tim Walz just completely blew himself up last night, right?
No, I don't think he did.
No.
Do you think that did he make the case that maybe some of the questions about who Tim Walz is as a dude, did he dispel those?
To an extent. I think you sit there and you watch somebody for an hour and a half and, you just feel like they're more of a person than a caricature. So I guess in that sense.
Brad?
No, I don't think he did anything.
I don't either. But we might not have had the same expectations for Tim Walz as Ryan, so Ryan's answer is valid.
I need to get Tim Walz in here, ask him what kind of relationship that we have.
That's your job. Go do it.
I am working on it. I'm texting.
That's Tim Walz of Minnesota.
Oh.
He's putting out a Craigslist ad. Tim Walz?
Tim Walz, if you see this.
Tim Walz, anybody out there? So the question is...
Also, I'm selling a boat.
The debate, does it move the needle? Does it change the way people think about anything? And I am watching CNN last night. I saw this live, and I was like, gosh, I hope somebody has the time to pull this clip so we can see it. CNN has a clip of a little panel of 7 undecided voters.
Oh, yeah.
And I was watching them, and I was like... I don't want to be prejudgy, but I don't think those are undecided voters.
I know exactly where this is going.
And as I was watching, I'm like, Annie, you can't do that. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how someone presents themselves. You never, ever know. And I've noticed this very many times where I've been talking to people, and they're like, oh, no, I'm for Trump. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
So I don't want to be the person who ends up being super wrong about it. And so I got to keep an open mind. But I'm looking at this, and I mean, there was one person in particular, I'm like, undecided. I am undecided. I was like, no, that can't be. But maybe I could be wrong. I'll just hold my breath and see what they have to say. And they go to this dude first.
All 7 of you came in undecided. One of you said they've made up their mind. Ryan, who are you going to vote for, and
Look
what
at this guy.
kind of solidified that opinion?
Well, I'm going to be voting for Kamala Harris. One of the stark sort of aspects of that debate that really stuck with me was when they were talking about January 6th and how Mike Pence certified the election, and they were wondering if J.D. Vance would certify the election.
You're telling me there's an undecided voter here.
He's just there up for grabs.
There's an undecided voter here who's like, I wonder where they are on January 6th. Oh, shut up, CNN. Get the heck out of here.
Should Trump lose? And, J.D. Vance didn't really give us a definitive answer, and I'm disappointed in that fact.
Oh, I'm sure you are. I'm sure you're very disappointed. You showed up to watch this debate as an undecided voter to see where J.D. Vance was on January 6th. That's where he lost you?
It's so funny because I saw that same clip this morning, did not know you were bringing it into the show, and thought the same thing.
This is why I send these things to myself and not to you guys, because I don't want you to see them beforehand if you're not exposed to him.
Yeah.
But that's the first guy you go to. It's what's the name of the movie that was a super, super low budget and he dances Vote for Pedro?
Oh, yeah, Napoleon Dynamite.
That's Napoleon Dynamite
Yeah,
right
with
there.
darker hair.
Long, dark hair.
That guy.
Is it voting for Kamala Harris?
I hadn't even-
Gosh.
I think JD Vance was like, I don't know that January 6th was as bad as you think it is. Tim?
My number one
shut
issue
up.
is climate change, and I've been a Trump voter like my whole life.
Yeah, he's really sold me on it, but last night, JD Vance, he just didn't really have it.
I just flipped, something about it. Wait a minute, J.D. Vance answered that about climate change, and I don't agree.
I can't even play the clip. The guy who is in the bottom left of that, did you see his answer?
No, that's where I stopped, was right there.
I might. I don't know. I don't know if I can do it because it's completely. The moderator of this panel asked him a question, and he answered it the way I would respond to somebody on the air. Like, you know how Steve Moore always quizzes me in our interviews?
Mm-hmm.
And
Annie, do you know what last year's GDP was?
Yeah, in June. Yeah, do you?
Yeah, of course I do.
I'm always trying to, I'm always like, oh gosh, this is a best guess situation. Throw something out there. And I'll be like, it's 342. And he'll be like, that's wrong. It was aqua blue. And I'm like, God dang it, I wasn't even close.
I said a number.
Wait, this guy in the front left he gets asked a question, and you can tell he has no idea what the question was. He doesn't even know whether or not to say 5 or yellow. And he just kind of stumbles over it. And he was the second guy they went to, I think, after Napoleon Dynamite up there, who was kind of, not sure where he was on January 6th until last night. And I'm like, CNN, what are you doing? And I'm just thinking of the control room going, this is a disaster. I watched the second one literally at home through my fingers because I had my hands on my face covering it up out of secondhand embarrassment. These are not undecided voters. And I don't think there's any single person who is undecided that they're going to vote and they don't know Trump or Kamala. They're either voting for their party or they're not voting for the president.
Yeah. And that's the criticism here. It's not that this person has an opinion about whatever issues. It's that CNN has the gall to be like, this guy has no idea what he's going to do in November. What are his key issues? January 6th. Okay.
All 7 of you came in
do it
undecided.
again.
One of you
One of
said
you?
they've made up their mind. Ryan, who are you going to vote for? And
You
what
have that
kind of
shirt.
solidified that opinion?
That's
Well,
me.
I'm going to be voting for Kamala Harris.
Oh, okay.
One of the stark sort of aspects of that debate that really stuck with me was when they were talking about January 6th and how Mike Pence certified the election, and they were wondering if J.D. Vance would certify the election should Trump lose. And, J.D. Vance didn't really give us a definitive answer. And
I want to know if they care if should Donald Trump win and Kamala Harris is the person who is the vice president at that time, would they have any problem if there was any question about the election of Kamala Harris not certifying the election?
Okay.
I mean, that's
I don't know if you didn't ask me that question.
that scenario that guy's talking about isn't possible. Because Donald Trump would have to win for J.D. Vance to be VP, and then if Donald Trump wins, he's done running for president because that's his second term. So the next election, it wouldn't be up to J.D. Vance to certify whether or not Donald Trump won or lost. The only person.
That's true, Ryan.
It's a dang good point.
I was talking to that, Ryan.
That's true.
That
Ryan.
was me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's your
I
disguise.
put on my wig,
That's
yeah.
your alter ego.
Oh, I was thinking about voting for Kamala Harris.
Will you please infiltrate a CNN panel?
Oh my
Undecided
gosh.
voter.
I'm undecided. I'm just really concerned about.
The problem is the moderators were not clear enough. When they said January 6th, were they talking about January 6th, 2021?
They
or
didn't say.
2022? Or 2023? Or maybe even this year? I didn't know. As an undecided voter, I need to know that before I can make a decision. They also, I don't know if you saw, it's like every channel last night did a panel of these voters. And CBS did one, which was the one I paid the most attention to because it was on CBS. So I'm like, okay, what are they going to try to say? So they had a panel of 6 voters on CBS. 2 of them were Trump voters, 2 of them Kamala Harris, 2 of them apparently undecided. At the end of it, and they talked about it a little bit beforehand, then they go to these voters at the end. Well, what did you think about the debate? Which is what they always do. Well, the 2 Trump voters, they're still going to vote for Trump. The 2 Kamala Harris voters, they're still going to vote for Kamala Harris. So, okay, what did these last 2 undecided voters say? They didn't even air it. They aired all kinds of stuff.
They're like, you don't want to know.
They aired them talking about how, I'm glad we saw a more civil debate last night. Lots of clips. Then the person comes back on at the end and says, also, the 2 undecided voters said they were voting for Donald Trump. Back to you. Okay. Thanks for not airing that part, which is the only part people are watching for.
Scott Jennings, I enjoy watching Scott Jennings, and I know that he, I don't know if they have him today, but he has a good relationship with the Mark Reardon show. So make sure you're listening today to get the reaction there. But Scott Jennings doing servant work here with the panel on CNN. And, this is another one of those things that you kind of have to see to believe. But he was sitting on a panel, and I don't know who the woman is. She's wearing a very bright pink blazer. She looks very nice, but she doesn't really sound very nice when she is sitting, 4 inches away from Scott Jennings making this point about J.D. Vance's abortion comment.
This is what Kamala Harris and Tim Walz believes, is that it's none of your business what women do with their body. And so stay out of our doctor's offices and stay out of our bedrooms.
Well, I guess I have to speak up for the babies. They're not here to speak for themselves.
No! Yes, Scott, that's right. And she sits there and she's like, she looks big mad. And Scott Jennings, he even kind of has
Let's check back in.
He like kind of smiles and then he just looks right at her. But when he looks at her, he's like 12 inches from her face.
Yeah.
Because they're so close on the panel.
She got her dunk in and then didn't realize there was like 10 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah, you should have gone a little longer.
Too much time on the clock.
Yep.
Good point, though.
Yeah, it's great.
And that is the point. And J.D. Vance's comments last night about abortion were about the women, which is what I've been screaming from the mountaintops here. Conservatives have to get the message that these women need to know that they can choose life, and we should be empowering the choosing of life with subsidies, $500 million or something that goes to Planned Parenthood. If they want to offer abortions, according to the Hyde Amendment, they should not get a penny of taxpayer dollars. Just like federal dollars don't go to, or tax dollars don't go to schools that include religious education. You are privately funded. You become not publicly funded. You make a choice to provide that kind of a service. You opt out of tax dollars. It should be the same due to the Hyde Amendment with abortion. If you are a women's clinic that also offers abortions, that discontinues your ability to take taxpayer dollars for your services. Because I would say in the education field, big fan of school choice here, I would say, well, we'll take the tax dollars and we'll just fund math and English and history and PE and sports and the lunch program and all of that stuff. We'll fund all of that with tax dollars. We just won't fund religion class with those tax dollars. That's what those Planned Parenthoods are doing when they take your taxpayer dollars and they say, we're funding these services, but not those services. What if we took that $500 million and funded adoption? What if that was the conservative message about what do we do to support these women who do choose life? What do we do to embrace them, to empower them, to strengthen them to choose life and to raise that child, or to embolden and empower families who want to raise that child to be able to do so in a non-punitive system like the one that exists right now? That's what I'm for.
That's a dang good point.
Which part?
The part that you just did.
Thank you.
I'm
just going to assume you meant the whole first part of the show.
No, not that. What you just said just now about the school funding. That's a really good point. You and Brad both made really good. I'm very proud to be on the radio with you guys sometimes. And when it's points like that, make me go, man, I'm glad that she's got a microphone, because that's a very good point. Also, that lady, I just can't get over. Scott Jennings says...
Was Scott Jennings in her exam room? It seemed like it was personal.
Yeah, she was mad at Scott Jennings. She was taking out everything she was mad about, because everybody else on that panel is all agreeing with her. Scott Jennings is the only one. So she's taking it out on Scott Jennings. He goes, well, I guess I'll have to stick up for the babies. She's rolling her eyes like, here we go with babies again. Yeah. Can't believe we're talking about babies. I'm talking about abortion, Scott.
Yeah, dummy. You don't know the difference.
You stupid idiot. Anderson Cooper's like, well, okay, and we're going to go with commercial break.
Oh, man. There were so many times. There's just one time where I gotta go back and find it. I gotta show it to you because there was one time it cut back to Jake Tapper and he was just blankly staring into the camera and he just said something like, wow. I'm like, I don't know that J.D. Vance just won the election for the Trump ticket, but y'all don't seem to be okay. We'll be right back.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
I want to talk to you about Window World. WindowWorldSTLewis.com. WindowWorldSTLewis.com. And the number to call, which I'm going to give to you here in a second, if you're looking for replacement windows, go to the trusted place for replacement windows, Window World. WindowWorldSTLewis.com. Right now, they are offering up to 36 months, same as cash financing with approved credit, which makes the project doable. Maybe you've kind of put it off because you didn't know how you were going to be able to swing it all at once. How about over the course of 3 years? With it being same as cash, this is a great opportunity for you to invest in those windows that come with a lifetime warranty on glass breakage, on parts, and on labor. A lot of those warranties, they don't include labor. You're still going to pay for that. Reach out to Window World and tell them when you call them that you heard about it on the Annie Fry Show, because just by letting them know that, you're going to be entered into a drawing for 4 St. Louis Blues tickets for the upcoming season. Here's the number to call. Mention the Annie Fry Show when you do. 314-993-1800. 314-993-1800. 314-993-1800. You can find them online, Window World, the windows that are simply the best for less, at WindowWorldSTLewis.com.
When you bought your home, you took on more than just a house payment. You spend weekends on upkeep. Repairs drain your bank account. And with your equity locked up, you can't do anything. You love your home and want to stay, but it's a constant struggle. What if you could sell your home, reclaim your weekends, and not have to move? You can with TrueHold's Sell and Stay program. TrueHold will buy your home now while the market is high. You can bank all that equity in cash and stay in your home with a lease. Plus, you won't have to worry about property taxes, insurance, or upkeep anymore. TrueHold unlocks your wealth without uprooting your life. Join thousands that have secured their retirement, paid off bills, and financed their dreams. Get an offer now while the market is hot. Call 1-855-300-9993. That number again is 1-855-300-9993. Or visit TrueHold.com to cash out your home's value without moving. That's TrueHold.com. Don't wait. Call now. 1-855-300-9993. Or visit TrueHold.com.
Why do the national tax resolution firms need the tiny fine print at the bottom of all their TV ads? Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. You don't hear fast-talking disclaimers in our ads because the claims we make are 100% transparent. The Lance Drury Law Firm primarily focuses on one thing, IRS problems, and we're regulated by the Bar Association, and we have a AAA rating with the Better Business Bureau. IRS issues are serious legal issues. The Lance Drury Law Firm has helped thousands of clients navigate the best resolution plans, and we tell you up front exactly how much it'll cost. Tax resolution law is all we do. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Lance Drury Law Firm, located right here in St. Louis. Call today to schedule your free consultation with me, 314-260-6120, or visit LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
We've been here 30 years, 30 Christmases in this house, and we have the traditions that most families have.
That's Terry talking about her experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We did Rhino Shield 14 years ago, and the house still looks the same as the first day. Rhino Shield really worked with me to help me get just the right, nice, soft yellow, and it's 14 years later, and it's the same color.
The main reason Terry called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by its 25-year transferable warranty.
It just sounded wonderful that we could have the house coated with Rhino Shield and not have to worry about it again for 25 years.
Take it from Terry. Give Rhino Shield a call now for a free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO or visit 877-25rhino.com.
There have been neighbors that have come by and said, "Did you just have your house painted?" Because they wanted to know who the contractor was. And I said, "No, it's actually Rhino Shield."
877-25rhino.com.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Replace your old furnace or HVAC system and save up to $2,100 with Carrier Cool Cash rebate. For details and a free estimate, visit aircomfortservice.com.
97.1 on the Odyssey app on your phone. The easiest way to listen when you don't have a radio. For everything in the news.
Your home for conservative talk.
The Odyssey app. 97.1 FM Talk. This is the Annie Fry Show.
There is no doubt in my mind, however Governor Walz did in terms of sincerity, that Vance won this debate.
Does Governor Walz have a problem with the truth? No.
They were talking at one point, Vance wanted to correct something about how Haitians got into this country. And he was right, and the moderators wouldn't let him correct it. It's very interesting.
But at the beginning, the two issues driving the campaign right now are Harris has a big deficit on the economy, Harris has a big deficit on immigration, and Republicans were happy tonight, and Democrats a little bit nervous that on those two issues, Vance carried it.
J.D. Vance is much more experienced at this, at public speaking, at defending himself, at pivoting.
It's the audacity. I agree with you that we're in year 9 and no one knows how to cover the audacity. The audacity is that someone should have said, "Stop it, stop. Are you effing kidding me?" And they should have dropped that F-bomb, right? I mean, they should have just. This is a debate. This may be the only chance people have to see the difference.
She's having a panic attack on here.
On MSNBC. Her solution to that debate and the fact that they lost it, apparently, according to them, is that they should have dropped more F-bombs.
F-bombs. Make the people know that we're panicking here.
Tell JD
How do you
Vance.
do that without F words?
Tell JD Vance, because she was complaining about the fact checking. Tell JD Vance to shut the F up.
I don't know what
is that what?
They people were not happy. People were not happy.
Oh.
Look, they want somebody up there who can just constantly dunk. And that is not the way you win a debate.
No.
I mean, that is a way to score points, but that's not how you win people over.
These people don't know how to do news, reporting, and anchoring if Donald Trump isn't lighting himself on fire. They don't know what to do. She didn't talk about specifics of it, well, at least in that clip. She wasn't talking about specifics of the J.D. Vance Walz debate in a way. She cites a 9-year timeline of audacity. Like, what have we been talking about for 9 years?
Yeah.
Donald Trump turned her into the little red man from Inside Out. with the flame hair.
Yeah. And she's on MSNBC as if MSNBC hasn't figured out how to call out Donald Trump yet.
Yeah, gosh.
Like, who
we
are you
should have a
talking to?
meeting. Is there anybody here who hates Donald Trump as much as I do? And they're all like, no, I hate him the most. No, I hate him the most.
Yeah. For context, she's sitting there with Rachel Maddow. Why aren't we calling him out?
Joy Reid.
Yeah.
If only we could find some people
somewhere
to really communicate to the American people how much we hate this man who was not on the stage last night.
I came home from the
It ain't
debate
good.
last night and did my favorite post-game ritual. I asked my wife what she thought.
Mm-hmm.
And again, my wife, she doesn't teach debate in every semester, but as an elective, she has taught it.
How much time in a non-political cycle year, like how much time a week does she invest into national political news?
of all the time that she has
In a week.
available, I would say maybe like 0.5%. Not a lot. So
She's not like you.
No. She probably has a couple people on her timeline that will say political things, but that's it. She's not engaged in it. She might generally know what's going on just for the sake of knowing. So I always come home and I ask, but she loves watching debates because there's an art form to a debate that's not just how did your side do. She's actually watching the form, the presentation, the points made, how the thing's going, how the moderators do especially. She watches the whole thing because she, again, has taught that subject and she's interested in it. So I always ask her, how did it go? And then she always asks me, what did you think? And I say, no. What did you think before? Because I don't want to, color your interpretation of it. She said, once again, I actually thought both of those guys had so much more to say and seemed more knowledgeable about the topics they were talking about than any debate I've seen this year. And I don't think she's talking about the primary. I think she's talking about the presidential debates. So I said, okay, so you thought Tim Walz did well? And she said, no, I don't know that he did well, but they at least seem to be having a discussion that is what a debate's supposed to be. So that was her first thing she said. The second thing was, what the heck is wrong with these moderators? She's not coming at this from a political angle, but she is saying when you watch moderators, you're supposed to not have any idea what they think about these topics or the people on the stage. And she said, I, without paying attention, can tell you exactly what these people think about these topics and these people. And she said, they are doing a terrible job. And I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. I think that there are a lot of people who, I think having two women up there is an interesting decision. I get why they're doing it, but I also wonder to myself if when they were shutting down JD Vance, they fact checked him incorrectly, and it's not just what they said wasn't a lie, but it was intended to deceive. So a half-truth that is a known half-truth for the purpose of persuasion is deceitful. And JD Vance said, well, since you're not supposed to be fact checking here, but since you are, I'm going to fact check back. And I mean, if you were watching us as we did our watch along last night, when he was doing that, I was like, don't stop. Push through, get going. And then they ended up cutting his mics, and you could still hear him in the background. They're like, they can't hear you because we cut your mics. Tee-hee, tee-hee. As a woman, I was like, yeah. But I appreciated that he pushed through that. I appreciated that he didn't back down. And I noticed, I mean, I don't know how this is observed by other people. I don't think we know anything more about Tim Walz today than we did yesterday. I think he looked uncomfortable. I think that, like, outside of the fact that I think his policies would destroy the country and I don't want his Minnesotan policies to come to the country, I would say Illinois, but I'll see your Tim Walz.
Yeah, we'll take Minnesota
and
here.
raise you one J.B. Pritzker. But I don't. I didn't hate him at the end of the night. There were times I actually had a little bit of sympathy. I was like, stop doing the up eyebrow thing in the middle. Don't do that. Put your eyebrows down and stop upside down smiling. Learn to turn those things around so that you don't look so uncomfortable up there. But the policies that he stands for, I am solidly not in favor of. And I think that the way the debate ended up unfolding, that the policies are kind of what's shown through, which is it's about time. And I give credit to both of those individual men for allowing that to happen. I just don't know how you could watch that last night as a non-passionate supporter of either one of them and think that JD Vance didn't come out on top.
Yeah. As well, I can't say that I thought Tim Walz did great. I think he had a low bar, just like Kamala Harris in the last one. Low bar, came in, kind of just stepped over it, and you went, yay, you did the job. You answered all the questions. But J.D. Vance was just so good at it that I think that you put somebody, they always say Ted Cruz is so good at debate, and so there's some names out there that you hear. you put the best people up against J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance is probably going to win.
But
He's
Ted
just
Cruz
that
comes
good.
off as a smarmy politician.
Yes.
And listen, I like his policies. But he'll do a hit on Sean Hannity, and at the end he's talking about, I think Gallego is his opponent for the Senate seat in Texas, maybe. I might have that wrong.
That's Arizona.
Arizona's okay. Whatever his opponent is, he'll be asked a question, and just Google it. Don't think about it. Google it.
Hit your head harder until it comes to you.
Brad closed his eyes and put his finger on his forehead.
Here it comes.
But he'll go from Sean Hannity asking him a question about something, and he's like, I'm getting hit hard in Texas, and that's why I need everybody to go to this website to donate money to fight against the big money machine that is the Democrat, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, you lost me there.
Colin Aldred.
Aldred.
Allred.
Okay. Yeah, I don't really remember that name at all.
I don't either.
Should make Ted Cruz happy.
Yeah.
But, I mean, J.D. Vance, again, I said this before, don't you think that he talked about the American people and to the American people more, especially when he kept breaking the fourth wall?
Yeah, he did. He pretty much nailed it across the board. I really don't know how you can do a better job than that. And honestly, I think Tim Walz found his footing. He was really shaky at the beginning. He found his footing as he went along.
Just like Joe Biden.
He seemed to have more knowledge about the topics he was talking about. What disappointed me, and maybe if you're on the left, you'd say this about J.D. Vance too, but what disappointed me about Tim Walz is that sometimes you'd hear substance. I might disagree with it, but at least he sounded knowledgeable. But other times he would just hit talking points that you've heard 1,000 times.
Yeah.
And you go, I thought that this was, you almost had me. You were kind of getting there, and I may disagree with your stances on things, but at least you were starting to make me understand why you believe what you believe. And then you just go, well, why didn't Republicans sign HB 2? And you're like, this isn't serious anymore.
I think one of J.D. Vance's best spots of the night was when he said this about the Harris border policy.
Massive child separations thanks to Kamala Harris's open border. And I didn't accuse Kamala Harris of inviting drug mules. I said that she enabled the Mexican drug cartels to operate freely in this country. And we know that they use children as drug mules, and it is a disgrace, and it has to stop. Look, I think what Tim said just doesn't pass the smell test. For 3 years, Kamala Harris went out bragging that she was going to undo Donald Trump's border policy. She did exactly that. We had a record number of illegal crossings. We had a record number of fentanyl coming into our country. And now that she's running for president, or a few months before, she says that somehow she got religion and cared a lot about a piece of legislation. The only thing that she did when she became the vice president, when she became the appointed border czar, was to undo 94 Donald Trump executive actions that opened the border. This problem is leading to massive problems in the United States of America. Parents who can't afford health care, schools that are overwhelmed. It's got to stop, and it will when Donald Trump is president.
From the wackos on the left to the MAGAs on the right, they know I'm beating Kamala. This race won't even be tied. Her policies are nutso. She's out her goddamn mind. She just repeats the same thing, regurgitating her lines. She thinks that immigration without paperwork is good. Clearly not too much power underneath Kamala's hood. Borders are, it's what you are. Borders are, borders are.
So
Cackling Kamala, you're dumb. Mass inflation imminent if she weasels herself in. If that don't sound like fun to you, then you better help me win. I promise I'll secure you, you'll be in better hands. It'd be a flippin' free-for-all with what Kamala plans. Borders are, it's what you are. Borders are, borders are. Laugh it up, Kamala. This lady.
It's all about the internet.
On a scale of 1 to 10,
Yeah.
how surprised would you be to find out that Donald Trump actually sang that?
I literally said when I played that last time that I think that
You think he did?
Well, all you have to do is say it, and then you just put it into a system and auto-tune it.
Yeah. But I mean, like went into a studio and said, let's record this thing for real.
Ryan, I literally said that yesterday on the air. What do you mean? How much would I believe that?
So you're at like a 1. So you wouldn't be surprised at all. Okay, gotcha. How bizarre.
It's just great. I think I'm kind of glad that we're done with debates for right now. There's no way that Donald Trump is going to do another debate if it's not on Fox News. Don Jr. said last night to Caitlin Collins on CNN when I was watching their spin room coverage that even if they were to go on Fox, he's worried that the anchors at Fox News would be so aware of the Fox News mentality that they would want to seem extra fair and balanced, which would not be fair and balanced, and that he's worried that it would be difficult to even get a fair shake there, which I think might pair with Donald Trump saying, I would do a Fox News debate, but not with Martha and Brett. It's like, well, that's super personal. You just really went there. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll get your results to the YouTube live chat poll. Have you voted yet? Annie Fry YouTube channel. Come say hi and vote right there in the live chat portion of today's live broadcast. Who won the VP debate, Vance or Walz? We'll be right back.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
Jen Teskey with RE/MAX Alliance. If you're looking to buy or sell in Illinois, connect yourself with RE/MAX Alliance's Jen Teskey. 618-541-1010. 618-541-1010. The website is jenteskeyhomes.com. Buying and selling in Illinois is best when you work with a great organization and with Jen Teskey, who knows how to get the job done. And right now, the market, it's definitely going to get hotter and hotter as rates continue to tick down a little bit after the Fed made their pretty big decision to lower those Fed rates. The mortgage rates absolutely follow. And then after that, you've got potentially more people on the market looking to buy a home. So get yours listed now while people are looking and offers are coming in. 618-541-1010. It's Jen Teskey, Teske, jenteskeyhomes.com for buyers and sellers in Illinois, specializing in Edwardsville, Glen Carbon, Maryville, Troy, and Collinsville. You can find her online at jenteskeyhomes.com.
I'm Rick Julius, a partner at Cordell & Cordell. As a business owner, it's your job to anticipate constant market changes. But what do you do in the event of a divorce? Years of hard work building a business are on the line. This is not business as usual. You need an experienced partner you can count on for help. We're Cordell & Cordell.
Schedule an appointment with one of our Missouri or Illinois attorneys. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. 600 Kelwood Parkway, Suite 310, Town & Country, Missouri, 63017. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois only. CordellCordell.com.
Join us for our first ever Trade Day sale at Apache Village RV. So hook up your camper and join us Thursday through Saturday, October 10th through the 12th at both of our locations at 9001 Dunn Road in Hazelwood or 971 Wilmer Road in Wentzville for barbecue, beverages, and a free trade evaluation. We guarantee at least $1,000 over the national average for your trade-in with the purchase of any new RV. Your trade will never be worth more than it is today. As this camping season winds down, save up to 25% off MSRP. These prices will never be better. Check out all of our new 2024 and 2025 Jayco, Keystone, Fleetwood, and Bontrager Outdoors inventory. Mention this 97.1 ad for a chance to win a $500 gift certificate to our parts store. For 3 years in a row, we have won the best RV dealer in the St. Louis Post-Dispatch headliners. Our commitment to you starts when you walk through the door. Go one better. Go Apache Village RV in Hazelwood and in Wentzville, October 10th through 12th. Trade value dependent upon condition of trade unit at time of delivery.
Celebrate the spooky season with Zero Res and get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at $129 and take $75 off your air duct cleaning. Book online at ZeroResSTL.com or call 314-474-2020. You spell it backward or forward, it spells the same. Zero Res.
The YouTube live chat poll today has to do with the debate last night. We just want to know who you think won, J.D. Vance or Tim Walz. You sign on to YouTube, you type in Annie Fry, and the date will come up. So today's date, you click on it, you'll see the live stream, you'll see us doing this right here, and then you'll see the poll, and you vote in it. We'll give you the results here just in a couple minutes. 2:46. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. On a Wednesday afternoon, we'll give a debate scorecard here after 3 o'clock and after Fox News. Also, Cassie Smedley, former RNC press secretary, weighs in on last night's debate. At 3:25, it's all coming up.
The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe. Follow Annie on Twitter @Annie Fry Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. The YouTube live chat poll for today is who won the VP debate. I'm a JD Vance. Ryan?
Long and hard thoughts here. I'm going to say JD Vance.
Brad?
Yeah, with after much deliberation and consternation, I'm going to say JD Vance.
Ethan, did you watch the debate?
I watched.
You were prepping for a football game, weren't you?
I was, but I did turn it on for a good 20 minutes or so, probably. And after thinking longer and harder than Ryan, I also think that JD Vance won.
You guys want to work that out?
Yeah.
No, I think I probably thought longer and harder.
You probably did. You probably did. No, I thought it was interesting. I was talking with Brad and Ryan earlier, even from a young person's perspective. Not that you guys aren't young. I'm just a little younger. I thought that
definitely than Ryan.
I thought that even in what I watched, it was pretty obvious that JD Vance was the better debater. But I think that the most refreshing part for me is I don't know ever in my lifetime where I was old enough to have an idea of what was going on in politics did I see a debate that was done as professionally, it felt like, as this one. You know, Donald Trump was...
With the candidates?
Yes, Donald Trump was running for the first time when I turned 16, so that means that Obama and Romney would have been in 2012. I'd have been 12.
Did you know? You were a nerd, weren't you?
A nerd.
A political nerd?
Back then, yeah.
Relatively speaking.
Yeah, I would say so. So I think it was refreshing to see, two people be able to disagree but do it in a professional manner, and I think you guys have talked about it a little bit, and them being able to agree on certain things but also disagree at the same time and then not be insults thrown back and forth at one another. That was super refreshing for me, and honestly, it was hopeful. Hopefully down the road, things don't continue to move farther and farther apart like they kind of have the last 8 years.
I think that's an interesting point because we kind of discussed this a little bit last night at my house after we got done watching, but we might be starting to see what it looks like in a post-Trump political world.
Yeah.
What you don't want to see, because we talked about this too, you don't want to see it go back to everybody just gets along at the expense of the idea itself. Mm-hmm. Because you want to see somebody, and this is where J.D. Vance did so well, is that he would not back down from points. He was just very nice in making them. And when the moderators were stepping all over his feet, he's like, no, I'm not going to allow you to do that. But he didn't come across as, he wasn't throwing punches at him or anything. He was just getting his point across very clearly, and he wasn't going to back down.
So people, especially during the Republican primary this time when Donald Trump was running, he was running because he had to participate in a primary, but he opted out of a lot of things because he felt like he didn't need to do it. Clearly he didn't. He made the correct decision there. A lot of people said that, if it weren't Trump, it's completely the same treatment is going to come to anybody who comes after him. And they really haven't, this political cycle for this campaign, I don't think that they have successfully been able to transfer the impetuous hatred, disgust that people have for Donald Trump. I don't think that at this point in time, the day after J.D. Vance has officially been able to speak for himself on a stage, I don't think that that's the feeling they have for him. And I'm curious what the media is going to do, those that are invested in continuing to keep Democrats in power or to get Democrats back in power. How are they going to reconcile that?
That's a good question because they've really lost their ability to sway things. I'm not saying they don't sway it at all, but in the way that they had in the past, because people just roll their eyes at so much of it now. Because you hear the clip we played at the beginning of the hour of the lady on MSNBC. If somebody's on TV throwing a temper tantrum that the message that they want isn't getting across clear enough and people need to yell the F word more on TV, you're like, look, we're past this. We don't trust you anymore. And anybody who's listening to that and going, yeah, they're in the tank. They're among the 30% who said Biden won the first debate. These people are in the tank. You're not going to move them.
Yeah, what's interesting about that and is that Donald Trump is like when he entered politics, it was like moving to a house that's next to a railroad. When you first move in, you notice every train that goes by, every sound, all of that. And the more people shouted and complained and like, can you believe this guy and the outrage? The more people just kind of got used to it. And now it's just like you've been living there for 9 years, to steal Nicole Wallace's point. It's been 9 years. Yeah, it's been 9 years. I'm used to it now. It doesn't bother me the way it used to. And it's not going to have the same effect. And then you get somebody like J.D. Vance, who is not easy to do that to. And then it seems really stark and really different. And so, yeah, I hope we're moving toward a post-Trump world where they have to, figure out, hey, we got to win on ideas, not outrage.
And what Donald Trump is going to leave behind him, should he win election now, what he's going to leave behind him is an America First ideology and plan that we already have 4 years, that or 3.5 if you want to remove the COVID time as a just a different world that we lived in, a different reality that we lived in. I think that he's going to leave behind a plan that people are going to have a record to say this works, but you got to leave it in good hands. J.D. Vance, good hands. Ron DeSantis, good hands. And when Ron DeSantis challenged Donald Trump in the primary, it's important to remember that he didn't challenge Donald Trump in the primary. Ron DeSantis got into the primary first before Donald Trump did. And Donald Trump was charged and indicted and all that stuff after the fact that Ron DeSantis got in the race. So I think that it's important to remember that the majority of successful Republican politicians right now are cut from the America First cloth. Those are the ones who are continuing to lift the mantle, to reshape the Republican Party, that have brought the Tulsi Gabbards and the Bobby Kennedys into the fold and really created a wider net to cast to get votes and to be successful. And I feel like that's a really good thing for the future of the party.
I do too. We're still in the midst of it, but we will at some point, I pray to God, that we will look back on this 15 years after Donald Trump gets reelected and say, wow, what an amazing era that was. Regardless of which side of the aisle you're on, you look back and go, that changed everything. No matter what you thought about politics, he changed it.
Yeah, I think so. We're still getting a few votes coming in here on the Annie Fry YouTube live chat poll. We got 323 votes so far. Ethan's going to be giving us the results to the poll here each day. So go to the Annie Fry YouTube channel and be sure to get your vote in. We got, 56.50? A minute or so left. I want to appreciate everybody who joined us last night. We had about 70 people on the watch along with us while we were at my house. And those are kind of weird because we're hanging out, we're on camera, and we're chatting with you, but we don't have the audio to go along with it, the copyright. But next time we do this, we might put in the 97.1 broadcast with what we're doing and maybe get away with it that way.
Yeah, I think that's our workaround.
The comment about being friends with school shooters that Tim Walz made, I didn't hear that last night the way he said it. And then I heard the clip. Did you hear the clip later?
No, last night.
That he... Here, I have time to play it real quick. It's real short, isn't it? 7. This is what he actually said during the debate last night.
I've become friends with school shooters. I've seen it. Look, the NRA, I was an NRA guy for a long time. They used to teach gun safety. I'm of an age where my shotgun was in my car so I could pheasant hunt after football practice. That's not where we live today.
And to add even more context to that, right before that, he was saying, I've been friends I've met with and been friends with the Sandy Hook families. I've been friends with school shooters. That's not what he was trying to say.
Yeah, I didn't get that either.
But he did say it. Ethan, results to today's YouTube live chat poll?
326 votes. Who won the vice presidential debate? J.D. Vance or Tim Walz? 94% say J.D. Vance in a beatdown.
In a beatdown. We love the 6% of you. Thank you for being here. Mark Reardon and his analysis next.
I'm not America's sweetheart. One of the things with running is I want to enjoy the run, but I never made it very far because the arches in my feet just killed me. So when I got to the end of my rope and I said I have to do something to get rid of the pain, and a couple people recommended the Good Feet store to me, I loved how I could go in and get a free personalized arch support fitting. They put that time, that work, that effort into helping you find the right arch supports. And you can walk around the store with these in your shoes and try them out before you purchase them. So after I got my arch supports, the arches on my feet stopped hurting and the pain instantly, literally instantly went away. So if you have pain, go. Find a good feet store and go. There is an answer. Find the simple solution that will get rid of your pain. I'm Rondi, and that's